Good morning, everyone. It's fantastic, isn't it? Beautiful Monday, as always. Today we're bringing you episode 52 of Youngblood Podcast with Jacob Christopher. Jacob Christopher Music is by far one of my favorite guests that I've had on. This was easily one of the longest podcasts I've ever recorded, so I've shortened it down to about an hour and a half, you guys. And it took me a few weeks to get everything done, so I do apologize for the delay and the little gap there, but I do a lot of editing on these shows now, and there's a lot of stuff that goes into it. So strap in. I hope you guys enjoy. Youngblood Podcast, episode 52.
That's
Swifty.
honestly,
Get
dude, that
Swifty.
is
Shit on the floor. You know what's
I
one
don't know
thing?
why that got me,
Here,
man.
You know musicians. We use these things called in-ear monitors now,
Okay.
and for all the folks that don't know, whenever you guys watch artists or singers or bands on TV or in live concerts, when you guys see those entire ear covered, as you can see my ear on that video, it is completely covered with a plate, and then there's a wire that goes back into a body pack. And back in the 80s, there were these huge, probably as big as this table, these huge monitors that projected all of their voices, guitars, drums back onto stage so the artists and bands could hear each other.
Like a teleprompter almost, but like,
Exactly.
but not. But it was
Not a teleprompter, but a voice back so they could hear what they were doing. Nowadays, the technology has evolved into where it is all right here in our ears.
right.
And what makes it so frustrating is that it can work one of two ways. Either one, we can hear the click tracks or the backing tracks or anything that we need to hear in our ears so you guys hear everything
Keep your
outside on
melody
stage.
and whatnot, right?
Exactly. But what I hate is that you lose all of the crowd energy
Right.
with that being in there.
So-
With all that being said, you lose all of the crowd energy with both ears being in because all you hear is the band and your music and what you're singing. You have unless it's a huge arena with huge pop stars, because somebody like Taylor Swift or Bruno
Right.
Mars, Beyonce, they actually have projector mics, actually just like this one right here. They have projector mics at the end of the stage, those catwalks. They have those around the stadium so they can actually mix all of that stuff into your ears. So you can actually hear the crowd reaction in your ears.
Okay.
When you're at, trying to make it level, there's none of that. It's just you either pop an ear out to hear the crowd or you put it back in so you can hear the click and you can hear the band and keep in time. And there's a lot of bands out there that play.
Like for example, right now, if I were to take my headphones off, I can't hear my computer. But right now, I can hear my computer through the headphones, which is something you, the audience, cannot hear. Post production, that's something that you will not be able to tell once I do all of what I do.
Right.
But for example, that background noise, things like that, all come into play. This is not doing vocals and singing, but in a sense of producing, recording in general, just things like that. These are all things you need to take into account. They're all very important.
Well, recording in studio is completely different. I'm talking about live.
I'm talking about
when-
just different aspects of how the audience can come into play when you can't hear it, when you have both of your earpieces in, and having
Absolutely.
that mic integrate the audience into your ears can totally change how you perform, is what I
Right.
mean. Like
Yes.
me hearing this background noise and, you talking and the levels, things like that. I was just relating how podcasting and how producing music can be similar in a sense of what you're talking
Yes,
about.
because right now all I can hear is you and me. But if I took this ear out, I could hear all of the ambiance of the room. And I have a hilarious story right now. So, a really good friend of mine, I consider him a brother, almost an uncle figure. He's a bit older than me, but he has been there for me since I was 21, all the way up until now. And he's going through some tough times right now, but back in the day when we were really getting our groove and really trying to find ourselves as a band, and I always knew what I wanted to say as an artist. I feel like I always had a general sense of what I wanted to say in my songs. But we were in this little honky-tonk up in Wyoming called the Cowboy Bar. And this was probably 2016, 2017. And we were playing. I was completely no-name. And still, to this day, I consider myself a no-name. But we were playing this bar, and this one cowboy came all the way up from the dance floor and tried to talk to my guitar player. And he had both of his ears in, so he could not hear a damn thing that this guy was saying. And he popped an ear out, and we're right in the middle of like this rockin' song, and we're trying to get anything that we can out of like the 10 people that were in the back of the bar. We were trying to bring them in. And this one cowboy comes up, and he's screaming into my guitar player's ear from the right side of the stage. And he pops a guitar out, and he props his leg up on the stage monitor. We weren't using them, but they were still there. And he props it up, and he's like, "What do you want to hear? What?" And he's like, "Play some fucking George Strait." And we were playing like "Soul" by John Michael Montgomery. We were playing like a country honky tonk song at the time, and the guy just kept screaming into his ear.
Some George Strait!
And he's my lead guitar player, so you know that like he is the cherry on top to everything else that the band is doing. So he has all the licks, all the lead guitar. So he's trying to focus on playing his guitar while he's listening to this drunk cowboy asshole. And I could just see it on his face. Like, as I was singing, this is the lead mic, drummer's right behind me, my bass player's over here, love him, Mr. Taggart. And Mike is over here, like, just getting an earful from this drunk cowboy. And he looks at me, and he's just like... and I knew immediately, and we have a talkback mic on stage. So, and what that is you can go back to a microphone. It usually has a click on and off. And what that does is when you have all your in-ears in, you can talk directly to your band. So if you need any song changes or any adjustments, you can go
But it only goes to them, right?
You can go to that talkback mic, and you can talk to your entire band all in the ears. It doesn't come out to the main stage. And he went over to that talkback mic, and he's like, "Dude, I don't know what to do with this guy. I'm about to kick him in the face." And dude, I know Mike through and through. I know him well enough to know that he was about to do it.
I know what he needed to do with him.
It took every ounce.
He needed to play some fucking George Strait.
Yeah. It took every ounce in his soul for him to come over to that mic and be like, "Jake, like, this guy wants to hear George Strait, but he's not putting any money in the tip jar, and he's just being crazy towards me, and I can't focus." And I'm in the middle. We're in the middle of singing a song, and he comes over the talkback mic, and the talkback is... generally, it's louder than all the instruments in our ear.
So yeah, it's meant to hear. It's meant to, if somebody was producing, you could all hear it and know what was going on.
Right, and sometimes the drummer has one too. Sometimes the drummer would be like, "Dude, I blew a snare. Like, y'all, Jake, play a solo acoustic. I got to change out my snare." Or, if any emergency comes up where I can't see it, he can relay that to me.
Right,
from the stage. And keep in mind, this is like a completely empty honky-tonk dance floor. It's like a Wednesday night, and this is the first time that we're here, dude. And this drunk cowboy, and I remember his name. His name was Cliff. Country boy name, right? and Cliff was just not having
it. Wasn't Canyon?
Dude, it should have been. It should have been George. Like at the amount of freaking pace that he was.
Or Daytona.
That's a great country name, dude. That is a great country name. Daytona. Dude, Daytona is like something you would give a pilot in the Air Force.
Two of my best friends in high school, their names were Indy and Daytona. Two brothers.
Are you serious?
I'm not even fucking kidding, dude. I don't know how
like on their birth certificates.
Their real names. Indy and Daytona Massey. Two of the most blue collar, redneck motherfuckers you will ever meet out of Idaho,
I'm gonna use this
fucking
as
United
pickup.
States, man. Yeah, man. And I did. These were two of my real close friends. Like I met them. The first actually interaction I had with one of them is I had a class
Indy
with.
and Daytona.
I had a class with the older brother, Indy, and he was a super intelligent guy. Like just fucking overall, just the smartest dude I'd ever personally met. And he was also a very good looking dude, very fucking strong physique.
Did you hate those guys?
Yeah, I was like, you're smart, you're good looking, you're nice. What the fuck else? Oh, you're good at fighting? Great. You're also the nicest dude I could talk to in the room.
Yeah,
what
you
the
want to
hell?
leave the rest for the you know,
Yeah,
you wanna
like
leave
save
for the
some
rest of us?
charisma for the rest of us, fucking Riz man. You know, and
My buddy John I was telling you about, he is that guy.
the Riz man. And
yeah,
so
dude.
meanwhile, I'm over here in love with his older brother, and I have another class with his younger brother, and 2 weeks of fucking having a
This
class
high
with this
school?
kid. Yeah.
Okay.
2 weeks of having a class with this fucking kid. Me and him almost getting a fist fight. I'm like, take it outside. He's like, fight you right here. And I'm like,
Was it over a girl?
no, it was just over a conversation. Dude, we just fucking didn't like each other. Like, fuck you, you know? Like,
Dude,
he was talking shit to the teacher better. Like, shit, like, it wasn't even anything real, you know?
I feel, dude, in general, I feel like you and I can both agree. It is so difficult to look good as a man these days.
Yeah.
No?
No.
Yeah?
No. Okay.
Yes? No? I guess it just
Okay. Let me
depends on what
ask
state
you.
you're
Let
in.
me ask you, like, what your perception of the man you're trying to be, because like there's the modern day perception of what a man is, and then there's the classic perception of what a man should be, and you know it depends on what you're talking about. Because if I'm trying to uphold today's society's norm, I could do that in a heartbeat.
Well, we could split it up, man. Be like, dude, in Moab, Utah, you would be a commodity. you know what I mean? But like, if you went to New York City, people think you were homeless. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It's like
100%, and it's also like, to me, you would never know that I'm looking at me walking down the street, you know, unless I'm wearing my boots, Wranglers, and a fucking flannel. You know, if I'm wearing my hoodlum attire where I'm dressed in all Zoomies fucking special, you know, like you'll call me Post Malone and think I'm a fucking crackhead. Like, that's just looking at me. But then talking to me, I'll be like, yeah, dude, I can do a mosaic tile fucking shower. I could tear a bathtub out and turn it into a walk-in shower in 2 weeks by myself. Fuck
so
off.
you could tell a woman like, hey, I can build a whole house
And
with
I'm
my two hands.
Yeah.
Why am I single?
And well, that's where I also kind of I've been a project manager. I've been a superintendent. I've been warranty superintendent, division manager, like fucking huge roles in construction. And I like working for my motherfucking self, dude. I just do. Like, at the end of the day, I make just as much money selling one fucking job for myself than I do working in a superintendent gig, felicitating over $150,000 a month in general contracting work, making the same amount of money and tearing my fucking hair out the whole time, you know, versus working for myself. Shit, I'm getting paid to do art, bro. Like, I'm straight up fucking, like, my client and I are working together on this design. I designed, built, and entirely remodeled, start to finish, the electrical, the paint, the tile, the plumbing, everything, the whole fucking shower.
Well, we can talk about all that, man. Like, I feel like social media. All right, let's dial all of this back. I want to come back to that. Let's talk about job titles here in a second. Let's come all the way back to my guitar player with that fucking drunk guy.
Yep.
His name was Cliff. And at the end of the night, dude, I thought my guitar player was going to kill this guy. Like, I literally thought he was going to take... Like, you know how you take your guitar and bash it on stage? It's like a rock star move? I thought he was going to take
I think
his
it's more of a rock
4,000
star
guitar
move if you hit it
and-
over somebody's head.
Dude, I mean, that's Green Day right there, dude. That's rock and roll.
No, that's fucking 50 Cent.
Till the lights go out.
No, he threw a microphone at somebody recently. And
Did he really?
split some chick's head open, yeah. Didn't hear
Like,
about that?
recently? Yeah. Like, bearded Eminem?
No, 50 Cent.
Oh, 50 Cent.
50 Cent fucking got frustrated and over...
Well, did he have, like, a mic cord?
It was a wireless mic, and he just straight went, "What the?" and just
Oh,
like...
God.
split somebody's forehead straight open, man. That's all I know about it. So that's all I'm gonna speak on the damn.
He didn't
God.
call you and tell you.
No, yeah, I don't have the motherfucker on speed dial. This ain't that kind of podcast. Yeah, we're open for business, but not open for 50
We're
cents.
open for business, 50 Cent. But yeah, that story closed out. So the band at the end of the night, man, it was a fun night. The band was doing good, but I thought Mike was gonna kill this guy, and none of it was a lead guitar player's fault or place to like just totally mark this guy, but he was like the one guy on the entire empty dance floor that came up and was just borderline heckling my lead guitar player.
That is heckling. That's the musician's equivalent.
Yeah, they're like, keep playing. Like
that's
play
like somebody telling a comedian to tell a joke.
Right, and it's like,
Like,
in
I'm a
the
funny
middle of
person.
their routine.
I'm a funny person. You want to knock? Like, fuck you, dude. Like,
Well, in the middle of their routine, no less.
Yeah.
Where it's like, dude, we're rolling right now with a country song.
maybe catch us for a beer after our break.
When we
At our
when we
break.
go on break, come on up to us, dude, and make some requests or put some money in the fucking tip jar. We and this goes out to all musicians across the nation, dude. Tip your musicians, like, because they're out there. First of all, we do what we love, and for us, a decent paycheck is just a cherry on top.
Right.
We love playing music. We love writing songs. We love getting to perform for people. When people are getting, like, rowdy and amped up in a crowd, that is like jet fuel for any band, period, across the board.
Yeah.
And that is like any solo musician, jazz musician, 20-piece full band, like orchestra, like that is like our jet fuel.
Well, that goes with
But
any artist, dude. Like,
Yeah.
fucking the dopamine that anybody gets from witnessing your craft have traction, dude. Like,
Well, somebody singing along to a song that you're playing, especially if it's an original song, that's awesome. But if it's a cover song and they're even more amped up, we know, typically the band will know, like, okay, Jacob is going to call another song that's like a country banger that's going to get the crowd even more amped up and have a good time. And, but going back to, I'm sorry I keep banging this table. I'm going to come back to that. Sorry. I'm going to try to keep my fucking hands in my pockets. Dude.
hit your legs.
Hit
your legs. No, you can. If you gotta use your
hit
hands,
my legs, dude.
hit your legs.
Gotcha.
Like I said,
I got beefy thighs.
this table is not the original table. This table is a temporary. This podcast has been newly revamped in the state of Colorado. This is all new. Everything I've done here, what you're seeing on the cameras, what you're hearing on the microphones has been the product of an entire rebrand.
I love it, dude. I love the setting. I feel at home. I feel like I can be myself. And you're a good friend of mine at this point, so it's a pleasure to be here. But wrapping up into, we were talking about job titles, man. Like, you have had a million different jobs.
Million and a half.
so have I, dude. Let's rattle through that, huh?
Yeah, and kind of going back to...
Let's go back to high school. What was your first job out of high school?
Going back to working for myself versus the superintendent shit, it goes into when you're somebody who does what I do for a living. Like, yeah, I have brown blood. I'm not fully fucking Chicano, but there's motherfuckers out there that set tile circles around me. And have literally set enough tile to wrap around the world a couple times. And I'm not that dude. I'm not the best stonemason on the block, but I'm a damn good one.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I stand by my work, and it's not only like the work that I do is paying my bills. It's the work that I do. Every single job that I do, I would do in my own home. Unless it's ugly by the design of the homeowner.
Yeah.
But the quality of work, quality of waterproofing, the quality of redundancy that I put into the extra steps, the things I don't have to do but I choose to and don't get paid for.
Right.
Those are the things that make me a good contractor. Those are the things that make me stand out from the other people. And for example, Hated, like I said, I hated doing superintendent work, and I love doing what I do for myself because I at the end of the day, walk away and say, I did this. You know, I did this.
Mm-hmm.
I fucking did this.
Well,
Not,
that's
I had to do this.
right.
It's a big difference there. You know,
It's a huge. It's
when you
a
own the
life-changing
business, when you're the
statement.
boss, when you got motherfucking paid, when you sold the job, when you had the relationship with the client, I did this. When you got paid to do it, and somebody else did this, you can tell the feeling.
Yeah.
You know, and
Well, you can feel it from the customers too.
yes and no, yes and no. Like I still give like when I'm working for somebody, that's why I get paid so goddamn well is because I give them the same quality of business that I give them as if I own the company.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's no difference in how I work.
Right.
You know, there's just a difference in how I feel at the end of the day.
Mm-hmm.
You know, my work ethic doesn't change. My integrity doesn't change. My overall passion for what I do doesn't change. You know.
Well,
Am I getting paid
your
more?
passion.
Yeah, am I
Like,
getting
it's-
paid more or less? Who cares? You know, and one thing I've noticed is, so in Idaho, I owned and operated my own small business for years. That's how I kept afloat. I bartended on the weekends, and I'd sell one dial job or fencing job a month and pay my bills with that and party.
Mhm.
That's what I would do.
Yep.
You know, just fucking have a good
Blue
time.
collar right there, man.
Drink beer, have a good time. Drink beer, have a good time. Sell a job, drink beer. That was my schedule, you know?
Right.
And was I comfortable? No. Was I happy? Yeah. I was fucking stoked. You know, were my bills paid? No. Barely. Was I happy? Fuck yeah, dude. I was having a blast, you know? But
That's
also...
every construction worker across America, man. I've never met a guy that like did not work his ass off for his money, but he was like salty about it. You
It
know?
depends if you're on a 1099 or hour. Like if you're hourly or if you're piecework.
Yeah. That's a
Because
big
if you're
difference.
piecework, you decide what you make. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
However hard you work is what you get paid. Hourly, fuck, I gotta be here.
Yeah. Yeah.
The job's still got to get done, and somebody's getting paid more when it gets finished. But I still got to get paid the same. Is how you feel when you're on hourly, and owning a business and hiring employees and having people who don't share your passion is a big struggle. Do you know? And nowadays, it's said that for every tradesman, we lose 4. Now.
Well, and I feel like that is 100% towards like social media.
For every tradesman going into the trade industry, we lose 4 more. Because the amount of tradesmen going into blue-collar work is 4 times less than that of 20 years ago or something like that. You know?
No, that's accurate. I've kept up with that, and I believe that is 100% because of social media. You see some 18-year-old making millions of dollars on cryptocurrency or stock trading, but they have zero experience in real life hard work.
I hire one of these guys for one day, and with what I do, it's a major sense of wax on, wax off.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's a lot of redundancy and things that you will not understand why you're doing it at first. You just won't need. You don't need to get it. You won't get it. You'll think it's stupid, but you're getting paid to do it and fuck off.
Right.
You know, and if you can't do that, you won't work with me. You know, and there's
Well,
a lot of
if you have
people.
any sense, you're gonna learn.
Yeah,
Right? You're gonna keep your eyes open.
Not for
No?
everybody. Not for everybody, you know.
Well,
Finding
that's why it's 1 to
somebody,
4.
finding somebody who's willing to put their pride aside and say, "I want to learn." In today's world of, I can make whatever I can make on TikTok, versus this bullshit. You know, you can't find nobody,
Exactly.
and that's what's made me want to stand out in today's world as somebody who does blue collar with a disability too. I have hip dysplasia, dude. I don't just do blue collar. I do blue collar with an ailment, bro. I walk with a fucking cane. Doesn't stop me, you know.
Well, that was the first and second question I asked you when I first walked in here. I was like, dude, how you doing, man? but it's, 100%. I feel like that's the problem right there, is that I'm like, dude, there's no translation between the kids that are learning so much things from social media and the translation between that and good old-fashioned hard work.
And
that translates into the dating world too, man.
It does,
Oh my
but
goodness.
To keep us out of that realm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to open a can of worms.
Not even that. It's to keep us on the track of where we're on. Like, so seeing the world and the path that it's on now has put me in a position of holding responsibility in a sense. Okay. I hit my 10-year mark of blue collar work this year. Started roofing when I was 18 years old, 19. Okay, turned 29 this year, right?
And for those of y'all that are listening, roofing is one of the hardest jobs in construction.
Oh, fuck off.
You don't think so?
Bucking hay.
You think really?
Bucking hay.
Well, maybe it's
Is
because
the hard. I'm sorry, dude.
Maybe it's because I'm
sorry.
overweight.
If you've ever baled hay before, dude, if
I
you've
have.
ever baled fucking hay,
I have.
that is the motherfucking hardest. I have re-vapor buried crawl spaces. I have done wood shake tear-offs on a 12-12 pitch without a shower for a week.
Where did you do a 12-12 pitch, dude?
Cabins up in Idaho, baby. 12-12 pitch. 3-story 12-12 pitch wood shake tear-off.
That is
Without
terrifying.
harnesses.
Yeah, that's
We
terrifying.
did not even tie up. And you know what we used to tear off wood shake shingles? A
Twine.
Toyota fucking jack or spring, shock spring. You know how the older trucks have those fucking multiple layers of metal that work as a spring? One of those, sharpened at a tip, is the best tear-off tool for wood shake shingles. Ask any roofer. That's what they fucking... If you can find one at a junkyard, they sharpen the tip of it because it's a long, curved metal piece of iron or
That goes
steel.
between the axles. Those are your...
Yeah,
those are your
that
springs.
goes... That they stack and then band together to give you shock support back in the day before there was shock absorbers made out of fucking gas and shit, you know?
Right.
And you take one of those and you shove it under the fucking shingles and you heave it, right? And they come off in rolls, and you try to get as many in a single roll as you can, and then you toss it into a dumpster from a 3-story fucking top, right? After you get a roll, you got to stand up and toss it or shimmy over and fucking literally like saddle.
You got to cradle it.
Dude, like a horse saddle. Like you gotta fucking use your hips to hold yourself while you fucking throw a 30-pound, 40-pound fucking roll of shingles off the roof into a dumpster, right? And that's not bad. That's just work. Okay, mind you, like I said, you're 3 stories fucking up, 12-12 pitch. So 12-12. Okay, the way roofing pitch works is it's a measurement from inch to height ratio, right? And so a 112, a 212, like just it's for every certain amount of distance, it increases an inch. Okay, I'm not an avid roofer. This was back in my younger years, so I'm not going to sit here and teach everybody how to do roofing pitch. But a 12-12 is literally a motherfucking peak.
I know.
You know?
For those of y'all that are listening, 12% roof it's barely a triangle. Like that's when you told me that you didn't tie off or anything.
Oh no,
I was
no.
like,
And
oh
so
my God,
halfway
dude.
through this job, I'm sitting there on the top of this peak, shoving this fucking jack spring or fucking spring from the suspension spring, and rolling up this fucking wood shake, dude. In Idaho, in the middle of summer, it's peak wasp season, and wood shake shingles are made out of cedar wood. Blacks, wasps love cedar, So, dude, you're tearing up every 3 to 5 feet is a fucking wasps nest the size of your fucking head, bro, and they come at you. So you're all not only trying to balance, you're also keeping a goddamn spray bottle of wasp killer in your fucking tool belt and fucking dodging these fuckers, spraying them midair while you're trying to tear a roof off. Mind you, this is the job that I work with these two blue collar motherfuckers, Daytona and Indy. So Daytona was Indy's little brother, and Indy was the foreman of the roof. And these two would go on the roof with nothing but vans, bro, and just fucking walk up 1212s and just monkey and gorilla their fucking asses up these things like nothing, dude. And I, making $10 an hour, had a sense of my brain and was like, fuck this, dude. What are you, fucking high? Like, no, man, I'm not gonna. I'm like to a point where we have 2x4s pounded to the side of these fucking roofs, and we're crawling up these like fucking climbing walls just to get to the peaks to tear shit off. And halfway through the first day, I'm doing that tear off shit, getting stung by wasps, not tied off, and I start climbing down, and Daytona's like, "Fuck, dude." You all right? And I was like, dude, I'm having a fucking panic attack. No, I'm not all right. Fucking psycho-ass redneck motherfucker.
I got 50 bee stings and I didn't fall off.
I got 7 bee stings. I'm getting paid $10 an hour. Fuck you and your fucking Daytona 500 ass.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
Daytona Indy. Fuck your Indy Daytona
Fuck
motherfucker.
your redneck blue-collar ass crazy shit. Fuck, I'm out. You know, and shit you not, Indy's a lineman now.
For who?
I don't fucking know. Someone, he makes more goddamn money than I can think of. He's a lineman crawling 50 feet up in the air, getting fucking 50 fucking mile an hour winds blowing at him while he's just.
Oh, Indy, like with roofing.
Yeah, the one I was. Yeah, that one.
I thought you were talking about like he was on the line of like an NFL football team or something.
He got
which
into,
would make sense
from being that crazy of a motherfucker that he was. He had no fear of heights. And got into fucking roofing, or from roofing to lineman work, and makes more money than all my fucking 90% of my friends in high school. Get this, motherfucker was kicked out of high school, dropped out, because the year that I went to high school in Idaho and graduated in 2013, the district cracked down, and 25% of my graduating class did not walk across stage because of new implemented rules.
New implemented rules?
Dude, 25 fucking percent. Anyways, those two blue collar bastards, fucking, there's a reason why their dad named them after NASCAR. If you didn't catch that reference yet, Indian Daytona NASCAR references.
Speaking of NASCAR, have you ever been to a race?
No.
Dude, me neither.
Never been to a NASCAR race, and I've never been to an NFL football game.
Have you ever been to like a dirt track?
Oh yeah,
those are fun as hell.
So I've been to fucking Supercross. I went to the Supercross 3 times growing up. You know, fucking in Anaheim. I mean, honestly, Supercross to me was a reason to see Angels Stadium, like, without actually watching a game, because fuck Angels. I mean, but that was just me. Like, I grew up by the time I was in 8th grade, I'd been on the field for a game day 3 times at Dodger Stadium.
Damn.
Yeah. Like, dude, my dad had season tickets from his company that they gave for clients and for sales opportunities and stuff that very, very, very often got unused, and my dad just got to take me. So I went to fucking games in the family seating almost. So if you go to before the nets at Dodger Stadium where they put the safety nets up, there's family seating directly behind the dugout, right? And then right behind the dugout is the yellow booths, right? And so, yellow seats. I don't know if it's yellow booths. They weren't booths. They were just seats. Dude, the kid next to me.
Were you guys like close to the field?
Bro, so close to where Manny Ramirez back in 2007 when he was playing for the Dodgers, the long dread-headed fucking dude that got...
he was top 10.
Yeah, accusations for steroids and stuff and taken out.
But he was top 10,
wasn't he? He tossed his
fucking
batting gloves to the kid sitting next to me. I was so mad. I was like, dude, Dad, what the fuck?
But
me
remember,
fight him, dude.
Ramirez was like top 10 at the time.
Yeah, he was
It was
fire,
like a
dude.
big deal when they tested him, and they were like, dude,
See, to me, that's just like one of the guys I got to watch growing up, dude. Clayton Kershaw, fucking Manny Ramirez, fucking
Jeter didn't come in until
No,
like
Jeter
2010
wasn't
or
on.
something.
It was fuck. I'm trying to figure out who was the badass shortstop for the Dodgers back when I was a kid. It was
Jeter's Yankees, right?
yeah.
Okay.
I'm a better Dodger fan than this. I swear.
I'm such an idiot when it comes to sports, man. Like when it comes to watching NFL games at a bar with some friends, I'm just like, oh yeah, that one guy. Like all my friends, dude, they all play fantasy football, and I'm like the one idiot on like I'm just eating my wings. Like, yeah, it'd be nice to talk to you guys, but you guys are just like,
Yeah, I don't do fantasy. I got asked this year for the first time to join somebody's fantasy league. Wow, that was unexpected.
and that went about as much as it sounded.
Join somebody's fantasy league, and I was kind of relieved when when I got back to them a little late, and they were like, "Oh, dude, spot filled, man." I was like, "Oh." Bummer.
Dude, there's so many situations in life that happens, where you're like, oh, you want to go to dinner and meet the new in-laws? Like, oh no. Speaking of which, have you met your future lady to be's in-laws?
Oh yeah.
How were they?
So since we're from Boise,
You guys, like you and her?
Yeah, we moved here together. I got a job offer to move here 2 weeks after we started dating.
Damn.
Yeah, and
Like we went through it a little bit
yeah.
before the cast started, but I didn't realize that it was that close.
right. Well, first of all, enough about me for a minute. Everybody who's listening to this show has heard a fair amount of most of this stuff. You know, I kind of want to get into a little bit about you and who you
man.
are and
Yeah.
and what you're about and what you do, man. Start with that. You're talking about me later.
Well, I'm Jacob Christopher. Christopher is my middle name. My last name is Gallegos. So I have a strong Spanish Hispanic heritage when it comes to my biological family, and you know, I mean, I had zero desire to play music, dude, until I dislocated my left arm. And it completely ripped all the cartridge out. I mean, my arm, dude, was
Cartilage?
almost cartilage. Thank you. My left arm
I didn't know
was
you had a
almost
shotgun or a rifle for an arm.
Well, thank you,
The
but I
cartridge.
do. And he never tried me out for quarterback. It's bullshit. It was the coach's son. He got the position. We can talk about that
And the
later.
pussy.
But
Position and the pussy. That's what they get. All of it. Pussy. All the.
you know what was even worse, dude, is that all of this crap happened like in practice. Like it did not happen during a real game.
Really?
Because everybody, like, during practice, they want to prove themselves to the coaches. And everybody knows this, like, across high school. You want to prove it to the coaches that you can do the job. And you just kill it. Because that's going to make the coach get a hard on and be like, dude, oh, man, this guy's going to make me a state champ.
Yep.
Right? And the more state champs, a lot of people don't know this, but the more state championships you have as a high school coach, the more likely you're likely to get hired to a college, and then when all that crap rolls
That's
over,
when you
you're
make
more
your
likely to
living
get
off
hired
it,
to the
actually.
NFL. And that's stuff we don't understand as kids, right? We're ready to risk our bodies, our health, and everything above just to make sure that our coach is happy.
And we don't ever think about what they get out of it.
Let me ask you a question. What is the difference between, like, a coach telling you something and your daddy telling you something?
Depends how much you respect your dad.
Well, I never really had a daddy growing up, man, during that time. But what about you? A short stint.
Well,
I know you
that's
turned it on to me, but
That's a difficult answer because my dad was my coach a lot of the time growing up.
were you the quarterback, motherfucker?
No, dude. I was the dude in the right motherfucking field, bro. But I was fucking good at it.
Yeah, I was
I
running
mean,
69s with everybody else.
No, man, I was like, so I didn't know I had ADHD until I was 17, you know, so my whole sports career ended by the time I had learned that I had attention deficit problems, and impulse control problems. So I had a hard time excelling in sports, not because of my athleticism, but because of my brain.
Well, and in Boise, Idaho, did you play basketball, football, and
I played football. I played baseball and football.
Baseball.
Growing up, my whole life I played baseball. And then I played baseball in L.A., so my family couldn't necessarily afford. I mean, so in my eyes, when I made the baseball team, it was something that like I kind of had an in with somebody that got me in on the team. It was not necessarily because I was that good, and it was also a prestigious team to get on there.
Was it like the town baseball team though?
It was the city's baseball team.
City's baseball
Yeah, I was in
team.
Burbank, California, dude. Like fucking, from that school alone, there was like 3 or 4
So
professional
where'd you go
baseball
from
players.
Boise to California?
I went
where was
from
that transition?
California to Boise when I was a junior.
So right in your prime.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like I said, dude, like at that time, I had already come from a super competitive area, so I'd kind of been demoralized already. Like fuck, dude. Like I came from.
I feel like you came from one of the towns just like me, dude. Where it's like, dude, if you don't excel in sports, you're not.
Yes and no. Yes and no.
You're
like,
not in the.
Like I also came from a town where there's people who, like the pop show from where I come from, Burbank, California, but one of the biggest high school pop shows in the entire fucking Hollywood area.
Right.
And there's people who do that pop show and excel and who are like the star singer who go off to be fucking multimillionaires.
What I know enough. I don't know much about California, but I do know this. I do know that like when it comes to high school sports, dude, they will recruit from the South Side.
Exactly. And so
from Hollywood.
I'm not gonna say where I came from was necessarily better,
you don't have to. No.
Better or more prestigious, but kind of where I'm coming from is like I came from a different mentality to where I had already been a baseball player for 16 years, made the team, and had been passionate about baseball, but was also built like a linebacker.
So first of all, baseball was your main sport.
Yeah.
That was like what you were passionate about.
Yeah,
Okay.
So to answer your question,
I never played baseball as a kid.
Baseball,
I would love to hear some stories about that.
I could tell you analytics from the Dodgers that would blow your fucking mind. Like I could sit here for hours and just talk Dodgers and shit like that.
Yeah.
And that was my passion was baseball. But like I said at the time,
we're good.
It was a major debilitating factor for me having a mental crutch that I didn't know about because I thought that I just wasn't that intelligent at certain things when it came down to sports smarts, like learning plays and things like that were very difficult for me to do. But I was, like I said, I was built like a fucking linebacker, dude. At 9th grade, I was 185 pounds, fucking 6 or 5 foot fucking 10.
You were all chest and back, dude.
Dude, oh yeah.
Like you were a country boy.
And I wasn't even country yet, dude. That was a crazy thing. Like I was built for linebacker, and I was a lineman originally because I was just a little thick for my size.
Yeah.
So like as a freshman, I started out as a lineman, and they're like, you're at the cusp of where you're too small to be a lineman, but you need to lose some weight to be a linebacker.
You're
but
like
you could
right
be
at the
good
teeter.
linebacker.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't like I said the physical aspects of it. It was like I could hit fucking hard. I could fucking dude. I played middle linebacker, dude.
Right.
I could jam, bro.
That's the fucking jam. Were you quick on your feet?
No, I was no. I was a fucking offensive lineman first, bro. Like I had to break that. Like I was used to just fucking going anytime
they called a fucking screen, I was fucking out of there.
I'd have 5 steps in and be like, gassed, And that was my issue. I just couldn't transition from that point because I was also like I was a catcher and a right fielder, So I didn't have to have.
Yeah, football and baseball.
Well, catcher and right fielder. You're built a certain way when you're a catcher, and I had bad knees, so I was a damn good catcher. Like, dude, I still have fucking cat-like reflexes that are ridiculous. Like, something drops off this table.
Dude, I saw you before we started the podcast. Like, you were freaking...
Dude, I could drop something, and off a table and but not even see it drop and already catch it before I even think about it. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Like Spider-Man reflex.
Yeah, like one time at Wendy's when I was my first job ever, I was a fucking grillman, and there's two spatulas, a white one and a red one, and the red one's the meat one for when you touch the raw meat, and the white one's for when you touch the salads if you can't contaminate them, right?
Right.
And if you drop them, you gotta wash them, right, and stop what the fuck you're doing. And one of them fucking fell off the thing, and I kicked it with my foot, and I caught it, and I was like, nobody fucking saw that? Like, I literally just like, bro.
I was waiting for it to come out.
What the fuck? Like, I just dead ass pulled some hacky sack shit on this fucking line and not
That's
a
like
single...
hockey.
I was like, pull the
Yeah,
cameras, dude. That was cool as shit, dude. Why am I fucking flipping patties, man? You know? But being a catcher, you get those reflexes, and the only reason I stopped catching was because I had bad knees. And so I moved from catcher to right field. I didn't realize how important right field actually is as a baseball player and as a important position for the team. Like, because I was already a catcher and a second baseman, so I was quick enough and good with the ball enough to have the hand-eye coordination to be an infielder.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
I don't know much about baseball, so I'm coming into this as a total
Right.
noob, right? If you're batting,
Right.
is that the right, or is that stage left? Because I think a lot of stuff musically, man. So if you're looking at the plate,
no.
is
So
that
right
left or
field.
right?
So if I'm batting, I'm looking out at the field, right, and I'm
Yeah.
running to first base.
If you're batting, are you right-handed?
Yeah, but
Okay.
if I but
So
think
if
about it,
you're
no matter what, running to first base. First base line, the first base line is right field.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's all from
Always.
the base.
it's always
Okay.
the same.
Like the
Always
outfield,
same.
right, left.
Yeah, there's left-handed batters, right-handed batters. Cool.
Yeah.
But it's always based off first base line, right field, third base line, left field.
Gotcha.
You know, because if you're looking out there, right-hand field, left-hand field as the batter.
Right. So quick intermission with that. Music is the exact opposite. All the sound guys that I've ever worked with, it's always the opposite.
On the right, on
Stage
the
right.
right.
Left or
On
stage
their
right, and it's like
on their left, yeah.
it's a 50-50
Right,
chance.
right. And well, I mean, so and the reason I got into football was because growing up in, like I said, a competitive area where the high school that I went to, like, literally had 3 professional fucking players come out of that fucking field alone.
Dude, Idaho has
And that's
2
in Burbank.
players-
That's in Burbank. That's in Burbank.
Oh, in California?
Yeah, that's why.
Okay.
So, like, I played growing up, and so I already kind of had a sense of, like, damn, like, there's a lot of competition out here, and you're all right. You know, like, so I think I kind of got disencouraged, you know? Like, I was just like, fuck, dude, you know?
Well, let's go back to...
And then the reason football came into play was, like I said, I was built like a linebacker. I was a catcher that got moved to right field, so I was kind of needed to be a little faster and more agile, you know. And then all of a sudden, here comes the price point to play baseball at the high school I played. And it was $3,000 for the baseball program to play for 1 year versus $300 for the football program. And I was like,
out of your pocket?
yeah, the parents had to pay that. And I was like, I'm not trying to make my parents pay $3,000, dude. Like, that. I know I love baseball and all, and I made the team, but fuck, dude, that's steep. And I felt bad about it, you know. And I was like, fuck, man, you know. I guess I built like a football player. Let's do it. So I played 2 years of football, and I learned football, and powerlifting was like the biggest thing for me in football. Like, I really took up
Same.
fucking powerlifting. That
Yeah.
was our powerlifting coach was phenomenal. And that's where I kind of lost
Squats
my
and
passion.
deadlifts, man.
Yeah, that's where I kind of lost my passion for sports, mainly because I had already spent 16 years thinking I was pretty good at baseball. Then I had to learn a new sport, and I was decent at it. And then I had to run into the obstacle of my ADHD and not excelling at learning the plays because they were full on fucking like, dude, you had to remember 15 different plays just for like defense.
Yeah.
You know, and that kind of shit to me was very difficult. And I had a hard time with that because I couldn't pay attention at practice. So to fuck around. Have fun. Yeah.
Well, and I have extreme ADHD. So was that a factor for you when you were a kid? Like coming into those football plays?
It was
So
a lot of the
like it wasn't.
Yes, because for me it wasn't knowing that I was a hyperactive kid that had to be taken, had to be given special care. To me, I just was dumb. I had no idea. I thought I was stupid shit. I was like, Marine Corps, here I come. Dude, dead ass. I was just like, I failed algebra 5 times. I was like, dude, I'm in
That was
remedial.
just dumb,
I
man.
thought I was just fucking stupid. I was sitting in there, remedial algebra 1, failed 4 times. I was like, dude.
That was a good laugh right there.
I just don't fucking get it. I'm just stupid. All right, cool. And the coach would be like, dude, figure it out. I'd be like,
Well, dude, and coming back, like I dislocated my shoulder all the way almost to my freaking clavicle right here.
right.
All the way around. And it got set back into place. I was in a cast for like 9 months. And after all of that stuff said and done, the football was like not really picking up. That was like my freshman year. I was right out of junior high.
Right.
And it wasn't anything crazy, man. Like none of the football plays that we have like 5 plays. And all 5 plays were badass. And I'm a 2-time state championship winner.
There you go.
Yeah, dude. But like particularly whenever I tell women, I'm like, yeah, but it was 2-way. And they're like, oh.
See,
I'm like, yeah, it was like 9-man football.
I feel like defense and offense, coming from learning offensive line plays and learning defensive blitz plays, 2 totally different games.
Offense is way more stuff.
No,
Way more stuff.
I had a harder time with defense, and maybe it's because the defensive coordinator that we had was more intricate. But or it's maybe also because you kind of have a threshold of learning when it comes down to those certain things. You know, you can only retain so much information. My brain had already had an allotment for this much of the offense stuff, and I'd learned that and got it into my head, and then I had to relearn the same but defense version because it was pretty much the same stuff, you know, but it all flipped around in a different sequence. You know,
and we can all wrap that back around to, like, you know, testing yourself and getting after it during practice. Because the guys that showed up and showed out during practice, those were the guys that got, like, extra help from the coaches.
Right.
And we're like, hey, dude, you're rocking this position, but
Right.
I want you to plant your left foot every 3rd step and just freaking go. That, like, it's...
So if
from
you,
somebody
if you
that was
didn't
just
hurt your shoulder, would you still be doing football, you think?
I know that I was an animal with football. I loved it, and I loved just banging heads. And maybe that comes from my childhood, but there was some need for me to get some anger out. And I was center line when I was like my freshman and sophomore year. I was freaking doing long snaps, hiking the ball, and on special teams, I was freaking.
I was a long snapper.
On special teams,
Yep,
dude,
I was
the
long
kicker
snapper.
was here and I was here. And I just remember my coach telling, dude, you know, the second he hits that motherfucker, you just follow that ball and you just go get that motherfucker.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
See, that's where I did good, man, on
All
special
right.
teams. Because, like I said, I was at that awkward size where I was too small to be a lineman, and I was a little too slow to be a linebacker. But kickoff, I had a good burst.
Yeah, dude.
You know,
Kick
kickoff
off.
I had a fucking good burst.
Dude, I gotta say, that's where what freaking movie was that I want to say that Will Smith did. Concussion. 100% came from kickoff teams, dude. 100%. Because those guys are running top fucking clip.
Yep.
And they're gonna freaking hit whatever they hit at
I
top
remember
clip.
we played this team, Boise High School, and for some reason they're our rivals, but they're not our rivals. They're the city rivals, but there's actual rivals out there because we were a state team too.
It's like the underdogs.
Yeah, and not even the underdogs. The team that they were just titled as our rivals, and we just wiped the floor with them every fucking year, like 42-3 kind of shit.
Practice games.
Yeah, and I remember, and we loved playing Boise. It was just so fun. We're like, we're playing Boise this week, and I was on kickoff team. I hadn't had a whole lot of big moments in football. Like I said, I came from baseball, and I didn't have a whole lot of. There's probably 5 big moments that I ever had. 3 of them were in one game. Mm-hmm. 3 of them were in one game.
God damn, right? I'm good.
And so,
I keep hitting your trash can hard, dude. Maybe I should have played more basketball.
The main reason we were talking about football is because I wanted to talk about the transition of how you got into your music and why you stopped playing football and what made you start doing music.
Well, first of all, what made me stop football was a really, really bad dislocated shoulder my sophomore year. That kind of halted everything, and my mom, the hardworking, awesome woman that she is, we were in the middle of renovating our second childhood home, and I basically was sitting up on a couch with my cast, like up here, my arm was here, and my wrist was kind of turned out like this.
Right.
And this arm was free. So basically all I could do was sit in front of the computer and play video games, or I picked up and started learning how to play the guitar. And to this day, I've never had a guitar lesson.
So you got lucky enough to hyperfixate on it, and
Well, I think that comes from the ADHD, man, that we were talking about.
That's what I meant. Like,
just,
so like
when you start getting focused on something. Excuse me. Cable was in the way. When you start getting focused on something, you just kind of fixate on it, and it's really, really hard to relay that to people. But and
visiting that real quick, you're gonna come back to that.
Yeah.
Hold that thought. Hyperfixating is a crutch and a superpower in many ways. Because for one, if you are somebody who does not know you have ADHD or know the capability of your ADHD or how hindering it could be on you, hyperfixation can be so hindering to where it ends relationships, ruins jobs, things like that, because it causes you to focus on things you shouldn't, in a sense, because you're almost, in your eyes, you see it as, this is going to be monumental, what I'm doing, what, like, the certain thing that I'm working on has a bigger picture, things like that, right?
Yeah.
And employers, friends, spouses, they all see it as a lack of ability to have impulse control.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's a lot of what it is yes, you feel this drive, you feel this dopamine, and you must act on it and finish what you're doing, right? And a lot of people with severe ADHD have this feeling of, if I don't finish this now, it's never going to get done, right? But it's also combined with the feeling of, I know this feeling and I know this power, and I'm going to utilize this power right now because I know if I am passionate about this one thing that I'm doing, I can move mountains, and I'm going to do it, right?
And the problem is that when we were kids, man, we did not know how to direct it.
No.
That was so... Well, we were talking about the football thing, man. Just, knowing how to memorize plays and knowing how to compartmentalize certain parts of what was going on the football field. 100% ADHD.
Yep.
And I feel like now that you and I have gotten older, we notice those signs so much more now. And BetterHelp, if you guys are listening, we would love you guys as a sponsor. You guys can follow Youngblood Colorado podcast. I hope you guys become a sponsor one day from my man Casey right here, because I use BetterHelp. And that's something that I wish I knew about sooner.
How old were you? How old were you when you found out you had ADHD?
That's a loaded question because I guess I'm
old
going to
were
piss
you?
off
How
all
old
of
were
my
you?
teachers between
How old were you
ages
when you
3
found
and
out, or when you were
when
diagnosed?
I started noticing it?
When you were actually diagnosed, not when
I've
you
never
started
been
noti-
diagnosed.
Okay, so you've never. Well, what is BetterHelp?
BetterHelp is a online program that you guys can prescribe to, where you guys can speak to an online therapist, that you guys can talk to your problems personally to somebody who has no idea who you are and you have no idea who they are, but they could possibly really, really give you some insight. And from an artist and from somebody who is a social butterfly, sometimes that is the best thing to hear, because you could hear one thing from your wife and you can hear the same exact thing from a stranger, and you hear it two completely different ways.
Yep.
And that is why I think BetterHelp is such a powerful, powerful tool for anybody who's listening. So I hope you guys go check out BetterHelp. And that is for the Youngblood Colorado KC podcast right here. But getting back to my ADHD, the first time that I recognized it, the first time I was like, man, why don't I get this? That would have to be almost after high school, because at when we were kids, like teachers, they would kind of lead you along, and it's nothing against the teaching system, but I also believe that there are they teach 30, 40 kids in a class.
Also in our generation, it wasn't something that was super talked about. It wasn't. No. ADHD. If you're a teacher now, and you've grown up in today's society, and you are past the boomer age generation, you're a Gen Z, you're a millennial.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gonna understand
Are we
these
millennials?
signs. Yes, we're millennials.
Okay.
You're gonna understand these signs more than the teachers and parents that we had when we were growing up, because a lot of my personal experience around how where I was like, well, I felt like I was dumb. A lot of that was based around a very genuine lack of confidence in my ability to perform, because I didn't think I was able to.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And once I was actually medicated and told, dude, it's not you.
And isn't that the bitch?
Right? When I was 17.
I
was 17 when I finally got help from a doctor, and they're like, dude, you have how the fuck have you made it through school? And I said, with D's.
Because
how the fuck have you made it through school? With fucking solid D's.
Let me ask you a question. Are you the kind of guy that never did your homework but always aced the tests?
Yes and no. Like, my attention was more based around the social aspect of being around my peers. So
Okay.
I never spent my time there learning. I always spent my time there fucking off.
But that's
my goal,
not fair, because all of your peers were focused on at least getting a C average so they could play baseball. Right?
Yes and no. Like, I was in a
Okay.
very rich area.
Okay.
So everybody was kind of focused on college. So not just being able to play sports, but being able to get a scholarship,
Right.
and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I also lived in a very, so Idaho has more Mormons per capita than Utah.
Really?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
fun
a-
fucking fact.
That's a
dude.
fun fact right there.
Oh yeah, because Idaho is the Utah people don't know about, in a sense of there's more Mormons by far, more like in a geological sense. Like, if you look
Like
at
a
the state.
collective.
Yes, if you look at the state of Idaho, it is more Mormon than Utah, because Utah has Salt Lake, which is a fucking beacon.
Yeah, but it's right on the border of
No, but it's a major city that's known for Mormons and for people of the Mormon religion to have a safe place and to go to. Okay. the state of Idaho.
So,
The state of
cut
Idaho.
that out because I made myself look like a total ass.
The state of Idaho
You don't have to cut that out. You're
is
good.
like, dude, you drive 10 feet in Boise. Every 10 feet, there's another fucking LDS church.
Can I? My geological map in my head is a little skewed. Is Boise like towards the north end?
Boise. Do you know where Bend, Oregon is?
So Oregon is like.
Do you know where Bend, Oregon is?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Take Bend, Oregon, and drive from Bend, Oregon, east to the border of Oregon, and I'll take you to Ontario, Oregon. Okay.
Okay.
Drive another 30 minutes from Ontario, Oregon, into Idaho. 45 minutes, and you're in Boise.
So it's right up there in the north.
It's literally on the border of Oregon and Boise and Idaho. Okay. So you can drive from Boise. People in Boise, so weed is super illegal, but people in Boise just get their weed from the dispensary in Ontario, which is 45 minutes from the fucking front door of the Capitol building in Boise, Idaho.
Gotcha.
Right? Per capita, this is a fact. There are more Mormons in Idaho per capita than Utah. Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, and the reason that I don't just know that as a fact that's written down in fucking paper, I know that as a fact from personal experience. I was a contractor in Idaho, you know, and 90% of the work that I did was residential, okay? And I want to say 70 to 60 at least % of my clients were Mormon. Just in general. Right. Like in the last 10 years working with people in Idaho, they were Mormon clients, 60% of them. You know, but people don't realize, like, oh, Idaho, it's Potatoeville, potatoes. No, motherfucker, it's Mormontown, dude. Like, that's what that place is. And don't get me wrong, like, Mormon people and the religion, that's their thing, and it's not my thing, so that's where I stand. Okay, you know, it's not. I don't stand from a place of negativity, and I don't stand from a place of where I'm dogging on that in any way, shape,
that
or
root
form.
beer's killing me, dude.
Right? And my stance comes from that of somebody who's just trying to be informative. You know, like it's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
It's fun. You know, and it's also crazy to think
That
about.
is a very interesting
yeah,
fact.
and it's also crazy to
I
think
had
about.
no
So
idea.
my high school had 3 cliques: popular, not popular, Mormon. Dead ass. I'm not even fucking joking. Boise, Idaho. My high school had 3 cliques, dude.
Well,
The cool kids,
Before you get into this,
the kids who didn't fall into the cool kids, and then the Mormon kids.
Before you get into this, I had the same kind of clique in my high school, but it was like the cool kids, unkids, and Catholics. You know what I mean? So before I go into, we don't have to talk about religion. We don't have to freaking berate this. And I would love to be educated.
Right.
If you know some stuff I don't, I would love to hear it.
Right.
But I will say this right now. The bass player that I had in my band for 4.5 years, and I just talked to him today for like 2 hours on the phone. Because, you know, I was driving between Denver, Windsor, all the way back here to make this podcast. I would talk to him on the phone for like 2 hours.
Right.
He is one of the most genuinely kind, fatherly, great human beings I've ever met in my life. And to me, he represents
The kind of
more
dude
men in
you'd
my
make
life.
the godfather of your kid kind of people.
Oh God, dude! I'll make him Monkey's uncle, dude. But dude, Tag is he's one of those like North Compass kind of guys, where I'm just like, dude, I don't, you know, he's one of the guys, other than your pops, that maybe you would call one day and be like, dude, this is what's going on. You know, can you give me some guidance? And he's the guy that would steer you fucking right.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So you're
and maybe his religion has nothing to do with him. Maybe that's just him as a human being. But my limited knowledge with Mormonism, that guy's my benchmark.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, because there's a lot of people that will, with the demeanor in which I delivered how I said, but at the end of the day, it's a fun fact.
You like the cool kids, the unpopular kids, and the Mormon kids.
3 clicks, dude.
Yeah.
3 clicks. And the motherfucking Mormon kids did not like me.
Well, and as far as everybody that's listening, dude, that like nobody knows who the fuck the Mormons are in that group.
I'll tell you this much. I mean, I was the guy that showed up. So we had an open campus.
Yeah.
And I would smoke fucking weed so fucking hard at lunch every day. Like, dude, I would show up.
Like in high school?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
absolutely blitzkrieged, dude.
I was
like, and like, not even just high enough to where my friends would know, high enough to where my teachers would know. Like, they would know, dude. Like, I remember too, because we had senior thesis projects, and our projects had to be something like a 10-minute speech and a 7-page paper, okay, and a community service project. And I remember I show up to 5th period English class, which is the class that you worked on your fucking senior paper on.
Yeah.
After lunch one day, just so fucking stoned, dude. And we pulled drows in high school is what we called it, pulling drows.
Yeah.
You know, that's when you fucking take a Gatorade bottle, you melt the bottom of it, put it in a fucking pitcher, and then put a socket in the top of it. You fill the socket full of fucking weed, and then you pull the Gatorade bottle out, and the water drains out of the fucking bottom of the Gatorade bottle and makes a vacuum and fills up the fucking bottle full of smoke. And you take the cap off and go rip it, right? And so we would
Do you
take
have any idea how fucking like Breaking Bad that sounded to me?
dude. And so we would do.
I
like,
don't smoke weed, dude. Like I am a total. I know I live in Colorado
This
too.
is educational.
Yeah.
And so fucking,
God
we do
dang,
like
dude.
4, 5, 6. Whoever's house didn't have parents there that day, they were at fucking work. We'd go over there, 6, 7 of us, and all rip like 5 or 6, 7 of these fucking gravity bongs, right?
It's
And
like taking whippets.
dude, in high school, that's how high you got, dude.
God dang,
Whoa,
dude.
you know,
Especially with that elevation.
no, this was in Boise, so it wasn't too bad
Okay.
on the elevation. And so I showed up so fucking stoned one day that I'm just like, fuck. Everybody knows. I'm fucking high. You know, like, I'm fucking high. And I'm walking through the hallways. I walk past the fucking disciplinary administrator who always watches everybody walking from their cars at lunch, you know, and I walk past him every day just fucked up. And I'm just like, what's up, Mr. Alder? You know? Another day, another dollar, dude. Fucking another day in paradise, you know. And he's like, "What's up, Casey?" You know, just doesn't think twice of it, you know. And I walk into class, and my English teacher is a very intelligent person, you know. And he's not a fucking idiot, you know. And the first thing I do is I fucking walk into class. I look at my desk, and I'm like, "Nah, I'm not sitting at my desk." And I go sit next to my homie who I just took fucking 4 gravity bong rips with, and I just sit next to him on the floor. And the bell rings, and I'm just on the ground, just sitting next to him at his desk, like, yeah, dude, fucking, how about lunch, huh? You know? And the next thing I hear is the teacher, and I forget what his name was, like Mr. fucking douchebag or fucking...
Mr. Gullible.
Yeah, something, dude, something. And so he's like, as you guys know, we have senior presentations, rough draft speeches today. So we're going to start out with speeches, and everybody's going to give their speech, and you're going to give a fucking speech, and you're going to come up here and speech. And I'm like, fuck.
That's what you heard?
Yeah. And that's why I'm like, fuck, dude. I got to give a speech. And my last name is Young, right? And ain't no motherfucker in my class in Boise, Idaho have a Z last name, okay? Like, you're Armenian or some shit if you've got a Zirconian or, you know, Z. My last name's Young, okay? And so he's like, so we're going to start today with Z. Mr. Young, you're up. I was like, fuck, dude. Puts me in front of the entire class to do a fucking speech, dude. I nail it. I fucking nail it. I go up there just completely ripped out of my face. And I'm just like, well, you know what? My senior project's on this, that, and another. And I'll tell you what, Mr. B, eat my dick. And I'm going to tell all these other kids to do the same. You know, just kill this fucking speech. And he just looks at me. He's like.
And none of that was really wrong. It was
no, it was great, you know? And
like
so,
as a high school
dude,
speech.
This is where it gets fucking juicy, dude. So did you go to high school in the age of the really, really, really inappropriate and bullying pages that were like, anonymous, and you could post anonymously about somebody at your high school, and it would post onto a dude. So in my high school, there was these fucking huge pages that somebody could run anonymously, and people could send in shit talk, right? And so anonymously, somebody would be posting shit talk from people that
Like
nobody.
a tip line?
Yeah, in a sense, right? And so it was like it was really some fucked up shit too. It'd be like,
Yeah, but would the
so and
teachers
so.
give it to you?
Listen, no, it wasn't like that. It was on Facebook. It was like on our Tumblrs and shit, like the
Oh,
social media
God,
back.
dude. Yeah, no,
yeah, when
that never
social media
happened
was
with
still
us.
new and they couldn't track it at the high schools like they can now as well. And so what would happen is like some fucking kid would sign up on a page, run it anonymously, and let people send him in shit talk, right? And fucking there would be shit talk about teachers. There would be just absolute gruesome fucking like so-and-so sucked so-and-so's dick in the bathroom. Like shit like that, dude.
Yeah.
Like stuff you don't want to get out about you, or so-and-so's got heartbeat. Like, dude, like some really dark shit. And I remember there was one day I fucking went on there and I was all mad at my teacher. I was like, anybody ever noticed how Mr. B looks like a fucking stoned goat? Right? That's what I wrote on there, but it was anonymous.
Which is kind of gentle.
It was, or a fucking, like something, it was kind of mean. Like, it was not very nice, you know? I was like,
Well, it wasn't nice, but like
a drunken goat. I called him a drunken goat. I was like, anybody ever notice how Mr. B looks like a drunken goat? And that's what I wrote, but it was anonymous and it got posted on the fucking page, right? And so after I kill my speech, I'm just like, blah, 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 fuck you, do. I sit down, I'm high out of my mind. He's like, yeah. Ever notice how you look like a drunken goat?
So this was like in the same
fucking class, same fucking day. And I'm like,
Okay.
fucked up thing is I commented on that post after I wrote it and was like, ha 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 ha, right? So he's seen that post and was like, this motherfucker, you know, and took his shot at me and was like, yeah, drunken goat, huh? He was fucking high in class right now. But also like knowing that he had the upper hand is like, hey, dude, I know you're high and I can send you to the office, but I chose the intellectual battle.
Dude, could you imagine? Let's switch gears, dude. Can you fucking imagine being a teacher nowadays?
I would hate to be my teacher.
Dude, when we were kids, and I can say this because you and I are like we're 9 months apart. Mm-hmm. I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. When we were kids, dude, it was, I remember my second grade teacher hitting me with a ruler. Like, I remember that. At the time, we were just like, ow, ow. And they're like, fucking stop speaking out of turn.
I was probably one of the most difficult students you could ever run into. Because, like, I had my own personal desk in the disciplinary office, but I'd never been suspended.
But all I'm saying,
No,
dude,
get that line.
Yeah, you had your own personal desk.
I literally was known by name, had my own seat in the disciplinary fucking administrator's office, but had never crossed the line enough to actually get my parents called and get suspended. They're like, you're here again?
They just send you the lunch and be like, dude, sit, this is your desk for the day.
Right? And what the teachers didn't know is that I had a fucking personal relationship with the administrator of discipline because he was friends with the Marine recruiter. And I told him, I was like, dude, I don't give a living fuck about high school. I'm not here to do anything other than fucking piss your teachers off and get through. Marine Corps sounds good. But I can hold a gun, motherfucker. Let's go. So he kind of had a little bit of
Dude, I graduated from Air Academy here in Colorado Springs, and that makes me laugh so fucking hard because
Marine Corps sounds great, brother. Let's go.
Like all the guys in Air Academy, they were so uptight and they were so like ready to go and like serve. Which, first of all, anybody who's listening, I have the utmost respect for every single branch of our military. and I love to play music for every single one of them.
Amen, baby.
But god dang, dude, the Marines they were just a different breed, man. like when you said that, like killed me because I had a buddy named Sam in high school. Exactly, dude. So he came in one day and he was a transfer, or military terms. I came into Air Academy when I was like in the middle of my junior year. So like both my state championships and all that stuff that happened back in like my hometown where I grew up. And if I gave you a school book right now, I could name almost every single person in my class because I still talk to them. Like we're all still friends. Like we all still stay connected. When I came to Air Academy, dude, it was 2,000 fucking kids. 1,000 of them were fucking losers in my eyes, and the other 1,000 were assholes. So coming into that situation was a pain in the ass. But I remember this one kid, Sam, where he was like, dude, I don't know how you describe a person as a toothpick, but he was a string bean. Like he was. I've seen stalks of corn.
Like if he turned, he'd disappear.
Dude, if he turned, there would be no difference.
Yeah, no, if he turned, he'd disappear.
It's just one circle, just if he turned. And
he's the invisible man.
But he was so hard up for the Marines, and I always had the utmost respect for him because he was in the gym. I remember this. He was in the gym every single day.
Right.
And I was in the gym too, and I did sports and all that stuff, and I worked out like a normal kid.
Like a normal kid.
Yeah, but this dude was in there doing like freaking 200,000 rep curl pushes and doing everything he could to like beef up for the Marines, and he ended up getting in, but he was
borderline.
Dude, in a year, I've never seen
somebody get bigger.
It's almost like a David Goggins story. Do you know who that is?
Yeah.
David Goggins?
Yeah.
So he was like, yeah, stay hard, motherfucker. Like, he was that guy. And I fucking loved him, and he was so fucking funny. And it was mostly because he would just come into the halls and he would just say stupid shit like, "What's up, bud? You fucking, you're gonna eat a chicken sandwich with the bun? Oh." Like, just stupid shit, you know? Like, just, I can't even think of it right now.
Daylightning shit.
Yeah, be like, "Oh, you're gonna sleep with your eyes open? Oh, you fucking pussy." Like,
better not sleep with your eyes open tonight.
What does that mean?
Or you better sleep with your eyes open tonight. Might be a dick in your mouth.
Yeah, for Marines, hell yeah. Semper Fi, dude. And again, I respect every single branch of the military, and I love all the guys, man. I've met so many people from different branches, and the only one thing I know that they all have in common is that they joined to serve our country. Period. Yep. So whatever background they have, whatever physicality they have, whether they're special forces or there's somebody fucking waving the fucking cones on the damn flagship, they all joined to serve our country because they love America. And I will always have the utmost respect for that. But some of these guys just make you fucking laugh, dude.
Sometimes it's just because they hate themselves, bro. It's not just because they love America.
Yeah, but like, dude, I'm gonna tell you
we
what.
live in Colorado Springs. Tell me it's because they love America every time. No.
Like, was your dad an asshole? Okay, you're a Marine. Yeah.
Well, shit, I'll tell you. Like, the only reason
I
didn't end up actually enlisting was sworn. Like, I was 17, parents signed the papers, everything in the fucking recruiting office, ready to fucking go. Like, I was
17.
Yeah, fucking ready, dude. Mm-hmm. Killed it on the ASVAD. Fucking. Obviously,
I scored really high on the ASVAB.
Yeah, obviously they're like, "Dude, you're built for Marine. Let's go." And I was like, "Oh yeah, pissing off my teachers every day."
Fucking eyebrow you have, dude. It's like the Rock over there, dude. The Rock with a mustache. And, you're just like,
and all of a sudden, so I kill it. I'm about to sign, literally pen in hand, and he's like, "I gotta ask you a couple questions. You ever take any medication after the age of 17?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, I got diagnosed with ADHD here a couple weeks ago. They gave me this Strattera shit. It's not even amphetamine, but yeah." He's like,
what?
So was it from a doc or a psych?
Doc.
Okay.
And he was like, what? I was like, yeah, dude. Fucking, that's what happened. And he was like, dude, you're disqualified for the Marine Corps. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, dude, if you're prescribed any fucking medication of that type after your 17th birthday, we can't take you. And I was like, well, fuck. Okay, cool.
Did you know?
And then what he told me, he said,
Okay.
go down the road to Nampa. Go to the other Marine office. Don't tell them what you just told me.
Is he really? Is that really what he
Dude,
told
word for fucking word. Dude,
Oh
I
my
cannot
God.
make it. Don't tell them what you just told me.
I was just about
And
to
then-
say
and then he
something
says-
cool,
and then he
I
says-
heard that.
And then he says, they'll sign you. Winks. And I was like, I'm fucking good, dude. Like, that was all I needed to get the fuck on out of here and get the hell out of Dodge, bro. Bye. Like,
I'll tell you what, man. You know that song? "Sharp Dressed Man" by ZZ Top?
no, I don't.
You know, crazy about a sharp
Oh,
dressed man.
yep.
Fucking Marines, dude.
Yep.
I have never seen a more sharp, more polished dresser than a Marine, and I'm talking.
I mean,
like
you've seen the
like
Nazis,
to the
right?
millimeter.
You've seen the Nazis. Them motherfuckers well sharp dressed, bro.
Dude. Those guys were doing high knees before we were in football
What's Shane
practice.
Gillis say? You ever seen a gay Nazi?
Oh, do I
Those
want
real
to?
sharp dressed motherfuckers. That is not my joke. Gotta give credit where credit is due, and that motherfucker is funny, dude.
So, the last giant laugh we had was what? Talking about the Marines and my buddy Sam.
Yeah, a lot of reasons why I feel like the Marine Corps might have been necessary for me, but at the end of the day, we're here for you.
I'll tell you what, man.
And
Yeah.
that being said, we talked about how your injury in football kind of got you kick-started with your career in music. And what I want to revert back to is your first show. Okay, when did you play your first
My
show?
very first
Yes.
show.
When did you play your very first show? Where was it? And was it a solo or was it on with your band? What was it?
So I have a really cool story about that. The very first time that I ever played in public in front of somebody was when I was a junior at Air Academy here in Colorado Springs.
So we're getting back from a long break here. And we're going. And a lot of what we do here at the show, a lot of what the Youngblood podcast strives to be about and show for is do as the locals do. That is our premise. That's what we're here to provide for our listeners, to the people here today with us, and for your friends that are tuning in. And do as the locals do could be in a lot of things. You know, it to me, it gives me an opportunity to bring influential members of the community on and to talk about what they do, why they do it, and what brought them to doing it. You know,
Absolutely.
and one thing that you've made a big impact on me with, and I'm sure many other people, is your music. You know, and it's not just music that, for one, like I've had artists on here in the past, like Dustin Isaac from the Tumbleweeds, fucking killer show, and he brought his guitar and got to just do some covers and have a good time. But everything he played made an impact on me, and still wasn't something he wrote. You know, everything you
got
played,
a guitar in there, man. I'll
I
play you
do.
some really brand new stuff if you
I
want
do,
to.
I do. And I'll tell you this much. I wasn't going to ask you, but if you're going to offer, that might just have to happen.
I'd love to, man. Hell yeah, I'd love to.
And before we get into doing some of that, I really want to express who you are, why you're in Colorado, and what brings you on Youngblood Podcast.
Well, let's go backwards to forwards.
Stress, not express.
Well, what brought me on Youngblood's podcast, dude, was mostly because when I first met you, and this goes out to anybody who is looking to find lifelong friends, I knew within 3 minutes of talking to you, sitting at the bar at Notes, almost a year ago.
Yep.
Even more.
Over a year
Maybe
ago, yep.
Over a year ago.
Exactly. Notes opened holiday season last year, and I want to say just about November. So
Yeah.
this encounter has been almost
Almost
entirely
full circle,
a year
man.
since we've actually ran into each other, and that's what's super cool about
Well,
how
happy
the
holidays,
universe.
brother.
Hey, happy holidays, man.
Yeah.
That's what's super cool about the universe and how it works and how it brings people together and what it does. Because, you know, me and you had separate paths. Me and you had separate agendas, you know, at the time that we met.
Yeah, but
I had already had this podcast. I had been more established with this podcast then than I am now. This is a revamp. This is me getting it back into what it was, you know, and it was never an agenda of mine to have you on the show or to even think about doing a show with you. But what's brought you on is the genuine connection and friendship that we've had with each other.
yeah, dude.
You know?
Yeah, you're a funny son of a bitch, dude. And
My mom's a nice lady.
so's mine, man. Maybe we can all trace it back to that. You were talking earlier about my very first show.
Yep.
And I got to trace that all the way back to later in my junior year of high school. And a guy named, I always want to call him Kevin Austin. Kevin Austin's a good friend of mine. He's a local country artist. But the guy's name was Austin Johnson. And I hope that I got that right. But that is a guy that came in. Yeah, so my very first show ever. Technically, I can pretty much dial it back to the middle year of my junior year. It was a guy named Austin Johnson, and he was a absolute killer guitar player. Even when I was a kid, I was just completely amazed by this guy. And he came into when we had like choir practice and stuff. There were like these little tiny rooms that you guys could go into, which I'm surprised that wasn't used for other stuff. I'm sure it was.
It was. Choir kids knew what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, he came in and he's like, dude, that song sounds good, man. Like, what are you working on? And he came in and he played guitar and he ran me through like vocal warm-ups and stuff, which I had no idea what that was at the time. And I went and tried out for the high school talent show. And the drafting had been done for like 2 weeks. But I went in and I met with two of the student directors, and I've worked on with music videos since. They're great. And Brandon, and I cannot remember the other guy's name, but Brandon was awesome with that slow dance video. And I went in and I sat on the front of the stage, and it was the main music director that was running all the sound for everything, and these two guys. And I played an original song, and they're like, dude, you're in. Like, how come you didn't come? They were like, how come you didn't come forward before? It's like, dude, I've never done a talent show. I've never sang in public, really, before that. And I had the awesome opportunity, like, during this talent show, I got to go out, I got to sing my song, and I ended up getting nominated top 3 in the, I want to say 20 people that were in that talent show. I was in the top 3. And it was an original song. I can't remember what song that was.
But you guys wrote it in the back room
Oh, no, it was all me. My buddy Austin Johnson just came in. He started playing piano, and he taught me vocal warm-ups. But all of that song that I did at that talent show was all me. And, and that just kind of kick-started my confidence to, like, maybe keep going. And I don't know if you were like this, but whenever it came to science or math, I was terrible.
Right.
But when it came to English and when it came to constructive writing and all of these other things that we did in English class, I was an A+ student, but everything else was a downfall. And that kind of just sparked my songwriting career, because I knew that I had a voice with words.
And this is before or after your injury?
This was after.
Okay.
Yeah. So the injury that I had was back in the town that I grew up in. And I came into this school not knowing anybody, no sports, no nothing. I had no idea. And they gave me, it was like college. Like, they gave me all these books, and they gave me all these classes and like blocks for classes for certain days, and I was like, where I grew up, dude, it was, you know, MASH, English, science, you know, it was all laid out in one day.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why it was so hard to learn. But when I came to the new school here at Air Academy in Colorado Springs, it was all blocked out, where it was like an hour and a half, 2-hour classes blocked out in between days. And that's when I started to meet a lot of people, and I started to do sports. And sports at Air Academy at the time when I was there was rough.
Right.
And I always knew that I had a knack for swimming. And I tried out for the swim team, and I was like 200 and some odd pounds. Everybody else on the swim team, you know, swimmers, dude, they're just shredded.
Right.
And I went out there, dude, and I looked like I looked like the Michelin Man in a Speedo, dude. It was awful. and I remember Coach Scott was his name, and he put me like in the furthest lane from like the professional athletes. He put me all the way over there. And it was at Rampart Range here in Colorado Springs, and we swam in the pool, and you know, in about 3.5 months, dude, I shredded everything because, you know, you were swimming 5-6 miles a day.
Yep.
And you know, I ended up working my way up into sports, into where I could be competitive. And you know, music never really took a back seat for me next to sports after that, because after I was in the top couple people of that talent show, that was kind of what sparked my, you know, creativeness, I guess you could call it, into going into music. And I didn't realize that I had something there. You know, maybe I did, maybe I didn't. And, you know, fast forward 2 years, graduation, all that stuff happened, and I started playing in bars when I was like 19 years old. It was right out of high school. You know, my cutoff, I was born in June, and the cutoff was in September. So, like, everybody ahead of me was 9-10 months older. So everybody thought that I was held back, but I wasn't. It was just like, dude, I was held back at like the absolute minimum. And I made some good friends, good people. And but fast forward past that, it was I started playing on the streets for money, and I was trying to put together a band, and I had no idea what I was doing. I basically went off of Jack Black, The School of Rock.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, this is a G.
Could you see he's the
this
man?
Is a
Could
G.
you hear? He's
and
a
just a G, you, and it was like, dude, that was like my only knowledge of putting together a band. And I gotta give a lot of music props to how I started to the movie School of Rock. Like that was where I was like, oh man, these kids they didn't even know that they were rock stars until they got on stage, and then they just blew the crowd away.
I think Jack Black inspired a lot of people to
Yeah,
do music. I had a cover.
Well,
I had a cover band when I was in junior high and high school, where I redid all of Tenacious D's songs to a T. Like
Tenacious D songs are not easy either.
Dude, and I killed him. I fucking killed him. Like, I could do Tenacious D, no fucking problem. You know, on a good day, but
on a Sunday.
On a Sunday, you know, and the thing with that is, you've got, like, one thing I noticed about you with your music and your following and who you are is you've kind of got this sense of integrity. You really care about what you do. You care about your music. You care about the people that are not only involved in your music, but just listening to it, a part of it in any way, shape, or form, showing up to your shows, supporting you in any way, you know. I see that goes a long way for you. And one thing I did notice a year ago when we first met was that show at Notes, you brought full house, man. You
30, 40 people.
Yeah, you filled the house, no problem.
It was a collective effort between the band and the venue. Did some proper marketing,
right?
And I just asked some friends to come, man. And it was that show at Note. It was the very first time that I ever heard a song of mine sang back to me. Like, I stood away from the mic and people were singing back, and that that was the coolest thing. But that is, that's 6 years fast forward from where we were just talking about.
Right, right.
And I got to give credit up to, this is a great story. If you wanted to ask me how everything started, my grandparents, I love them very dearly. They will always have a special place in my heart for this. I had no idea that music was my path at the time. And my mom, bless her heart, she was like, all right, I mean, if you're not going to go to college, I guess I'll support this. And maybe, like, to me, that's what it felt like. But to her, I'm sure it was like, hey, I'm going to support my son, right?
Right.
And they gave me my very first sound system, and it was like in the basement. It was like the true garage band setting, where like the songs weren't good, the singing wasn't good, and like all the drum fills were crazy. And like
But you were the musician of your family. Yes or no?
Yeah, I think
right.
My oldest brother Ross, he played guitar in the church band when I was a kid.
Right.
So I think that originally is kind of what got me going started, and I never really got into the church thing, but I knew that I really wanted to play guitar, and still to this day, like when I was 20 years old, I still was not able to play the guitar proficiently at all. I knew like 4 chords,
right,
and which is like 90% of country music. And just a quick rabbit hole. I was never into country music. My mom was an 80s rock chick, dude. So all of the stuff that I listened to up until when I started playing for my own, it was all 80s rock, and it was all 90s rock. It was Avril Lavigne, Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, and all these other influences that were kind of more I don't know if computerized was the word, but it was not DJ. Like there was a lot more different stuff than like live 80s music.
Right.
And I kind of I feel like in my origin story, I feel like I got the best of both worlds when it came to that kind of stuff, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Right. And I remember being in the kitchen cleaning dishes, like as a punishment. My mom's like, you got to do the dishes. You messed up. And I heard Keith Urban come on the radio, Love Somebody Like You. Great song, classic country song that we know today, all across the board. But like the way that he played guitar and the way that he ripped those solos and the way that he was able to bring rock and roll into country music. And he still had country music lyrics, but he just shredded the guitar. And I was like, man, I really would love to do that.
Right.
And that introduced me to Brad Paisley, Vince Gill, Dolly Parton, and all of the country greats.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is like a genre of music I've never really heard before. From my older brothers and from my mom who grew up in the 80s, it was my older brothers were very, very like with the times. And I heard all the classic stuff from my mom, and the country I kind of discovered on my own.
Right.
And but fast forwarding after all of that stuff, I was 20 years old, and I remember playing on the side of a street for cash. I was busking downtown Colorado Springs outside. It used to be a 7-Eleven. I don't know what it is now. But it was like catty corner to a bar named Cowboys here in Colorado Springs.
Right. And
it turns out that like I was busking for like 2 hours. I didn't have any calluses on my hands, so I was like almost bleeding for just like trying to make some tips.
Need some super glue.
Yeah, and at the time, man, that's all I knew. I was like, this is how musicians make money. Just go on the street and just start playing. And the owner of 2 or 3 of the nightclubs that owned downtown, his name was Sam Guadagnoli, rest in peace. And he came around with this smoking hot blonde, and they heard me play, and he came back around, and they ended up sitting on like that median between like the crosswalks. There's like this little patch of grass and a cement sit-in, And him and her just sat there for like 15 minutes, and they listened to me play.
Right.
And after that, he wrote me a check for a good chunk of money, and he said, "Hey, man, do you have like a professional microphone? Do you have a professional sound system?" And at the time, I had no idea what that was. I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I'm just trying to play on the street for tips." And he's like, "I want you playing in my bar this weekend." And I said, "Okay." And he wrote me a check.
To go get what you needed to play.
He wrote a check, and he signed it and everything, and he signed the back, and he's like, "Here." He's like, "If you're not back here on Friday on the rooftop of that bar, I know who you are. But if you want a chance, and you want a chance to perform for people and make some real tips,
right.
I want you to perform." And it was on the rooftop of Gasoline Alley downtown.
How cool is that?
Dude, it was the coolest thing. And I went to Guitar Center, man, and I went in there like a freaking, fish out of water. I was like, dude, I have no idea what I need. This guy gave me a check for this amount. What's the most professional gear that I can get for this much money?
Yeah.
And they pretty much left. I stood there at the front door. They went and got everything. They brought it back down to the floor, and they're like, "Hey, man, this is the best stuff that we can give you for this amount of money." And I said, "Okay, well, here's the check." And they said, "Okay, well, let us verify it." I took all that stuff home. It was like an 8-hour procedure. It was like being a doctor. I was like, I have no idea where this stuff goes. I'm going to try to plug everything in, try to figure it out. And that weekend I went and played at the Gasoline Alley rooftop, and I made $300-$400 in tips, and he didn't pay me a thing. I remember him saying this. He said, "I'm not going to pay you shit for the first week.
Yeah.
But I want you to go in there and see what you can do."
Right.
And I said, "Okay." And Friday and Saturday for 4 months straight, I had that gig, and I was making, $400, $500 in tips every single night. So I was making $1,000 a week as a 20-year-old kid who didn't really know how to play the guitar and didn't really know these songs, but I gave it my all.
Right.
And all of that money just kind of, it produced the first EP, the Heartbroken Down EP. And I had some friends of mine, Dylan, Sam, and Mike Morgan, very, very long-time friends of mine. And, I still check up on them to this day. And, we ended up, making a band out of it. We called it Westbound Headed East originally.
Right.
Which is now the name of my LLC. With my professional company.
Right.
But back in the day, it was Westbound Headed East, and we did all these acoustic shows, and we were starting to get kind of hot around town. But again, let me tell you, I was 19, 20 years old, was not able to drink, and I was starting to get all these bar gigs around town. I was starting to get these, bar tabs and all this other extra stuff where they were like, "Dude, yeah, you can drink for free," and I was like, "Okay."
Right.
And and that kind of rolled into my future alcohol problem, which we'll get into later. But yeah, man, for the first 2 or 3 years of my, you can call it # professional career, man, we were just lighting the whole town on fire. It was great. And we started, I got a call from a booking agency up in Chicago, and we started getting to go to these casinos and big venues up north in North Dakota and Wyoming and Nebraska and Iowa and Kansas. And, all of that seemed to just kind of roll into this huge thing. And I was like, dude, I can't keep playing cover songs. I need to start writing my own songs. That's about when the Heartbroken Down record came out. And to this day, Slow Dance is one of my songs that is the most streamed, the most played song that I have. And to its credit, I'm 29 now. So it's been on Spotify for 7-8 years, but it's still one of the most requested songs that I have in my live shows.
Right.
And now that I've really taken songwriting seriously, fast forward again, it's I look back on that song and I'm like, oh my God, dude, I freaking write that song, Jesus Christ. but it's still it was still like my origin story, that slow dance song. And and then over the years, I've gotten to open for people that I never ever dreamed that I would be able to open for, and some of them are very big influences of mine. And that was just such an amazing thing to be like, dude, I can't believe I'm here. I can't, thank you so much for having us. And they're like, dude, between the promoters and the booking agents at the bar, like, we had nothing to do with you being here, but, thanks for opening for us, And I have a hilarious story about Drake White, who is a really, really big influence of mine. I love his music. I love his voice. But coming back into the present time, it was really just trial and error. Everything was trial and error. And I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I'm making $1,000 a week as a 20-year-old kid, and I have no idea what I'm doing. Yeah. And between that and the mixture of, hot chicks buying us alcohol at the bar, and, bartenders wanting to take us home at the end of the night, and, and tips and all the money and stuff, like, it was something that I was just so not ready for when I was 20,
overwhelming.
21. It was extremely overwhelming, and I had no idea at the time how to run a business. Zero. And still, the music business and just business in general is ever changing. With social media and with cryptocurrency and with all the stuff going on, at the end of the day, you still have to have a really good. You still need to have something to market.
Right.
Like, you still need to have good songs. You still need to have a good, social media presence and all these other things.
And it goes both ways too. You can't just have a good product and put it out there. You have to still market it. Mm-hmm. And a lot of what you do directly is a lot of the success you see is from the people in your circle. A lot of your following and a lot of the traction you get is because of just genuine great fucking fans and great people who care about you. They care about the music that you put out, and they want to come see you. And one thing that we did make sure to do is we talked to some of these people beforehand, and there's quite a few. There's quite a few.
7, 8 years fast forward, man. I can't believe I put out this post like less than 2 hours ago, and we got really cool people. And I called a few of them. I was like, hey, man, just how you feeling? What do you think about that? First question is from Sonia from Amarillo, Texas. What do we got? What's the best band trip you had?
See, that's why I handed you your handwriting.
Yeah, I did write this down before. I was like, dude, we can't get this in a text. You sent it to me over Snapchat. Dude, do we have time for this?
Let's see.
So I'll tell you what. When I was about 23, 24, we went on like a very small 3-piece band. It was me on guitar. And I was learning the craft. I was trying to get everything down. This is after the Heartbroken Down EP came out, so we had some stuff to push to radio and to market and to social media. And we went to this little town in Colorado called Rifle, which is about 45 minutes outside of Palisade, over on the east slope coming in. And we went to this little tiny dive bar, dude, and I don't know if it's still called this. It was called the Silver Dollar Bar. And we went in there, dude, and there was no expectations. We were just like, dude, we know this is our guarantee. We know we have to play for 3 hours. Let's just, we're going to load in, do our thing. And by about set 2 is when that bar was at past max capacity. Like, there's no way that the fire department would have came and been like, dude,
fire department was not condoning
people
what was going on in there.
Yeah. And, dude, at the time, I was drinking a lot, my bass player was drinking a lot, and my drummer was drinking a lot. And we had this entire explosion of people. And it was one of the coolest shows that I can remember in my early days. And not only when everybody got kicked out and everything kind of left, there were still like 10 to 15 people that just like would not leave the bar. But this is such a small bar that they did not have any bouncers. They did not have any ability to kick these people out. So the owner handed me his keys and was like, hey, man, everything behind the bar is all you guys. Figure out the sleeping situation. I'm going to leave, but just lock up when you're done. What the hell?
In other words,
so I'm like,
I ain't dealing with your ass. I'm out.
Yeah, and I was like 23, 24, and I was like, dude, first of all, we're going to grab like whatever Top Shop you stuff have.
First of all,
and we're going to hang out with all these other people, and we're going to have a good time. And it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and we finally were starting to run out of gas. And we already got the van and the trailer packed up, so all of our music gear was out of here. So we're just playing pool and just hanging out with all these people. And they kind of started to phase out. And then these 3 at like 5 o'clock in the morning when we were all starting to like, okay, let's figure out where we're going to sleep. And we were just like...
Calling it, yeah.
Dude, we were like, we're calling it. These three really, really hot Mexican ladies. Latinas. They came in, and this is not a stereotype, but they were like, yeah, we come in and clean the bar every Friday, Saturday night. And we were like, okay. And they were gorgeous. Like, all 3 of them, gorgeous.
Better than every other real estate you had all night.
Right. And, I mean, at the time, I was very, very intoxicated, so I don't know how hot they were at this point. Now that I'm telling the story, I don't know.
At this time, beer goggles might have been set in. It's okay.
Yeah, so they came in and started cleaning, and we just started we just started like heckling them, kind of thing. Like we weren't like catcalling them, we weren't like being rude, but we were just like, "What's going on,
what's up, ladies?"
Yeah, like we were just being
I got
stupid.
something for you to clean.
And yeah, dude, I'll spare you the gory details, but my bass player ended up sleeping on a pool table. I ended up sleeping on the bar, and my drummer ended up having a couple of those mamacitas in the bathroom. So it was like we had all this
stuff. So 2 of you got nothing, and he got 2.
Well, I think honestly at that time we were just so tanked out. But our drummer, like,
that's what happened. 2 of you got nothing. 1 of you got 2.
Exactly. Yeah.
He played the rhythm.
But here's the worst part of the story to finish up this question. The worst part of this story is that there was a radio station that was playing my song in Grand Junction the very next morning. And they were like, hey, man, come in early morning for an interview, like a live performance. And I was like, all right. And we got there at 8 o'clock on the dot, which is what they asked for. And I came in like just like, oh, my guitar, freaking, let's tune this thing. And they were like, dude, you all right? I was like, dude, last night was nuts. Last night was crazy. And they were like, okay, well, just give us a verse and chorus, a slow dance, and then we'll do a short interview. I didn't hear any of that. I was like, all right, so I'm going to play the whole song, and we're going to it was such a total garbage thing, and completely on my end. It was all my fault. And I felt so bad, and I told the radio host, I was like, hey, man, can I come back in like 3 or 4 hours when I, have some electrolytes and when I do some vocal warm-ups and come in? Because I wasn't prepared. The night before, I'm sorry. dude, the night before, we were playing songs that we've never played before. We were playing like Can't Hold Back by Survivor, like just songs that were way out of my range at the time. And but everybody at that bar loved it. They were like, we can't believe these guys are attempting this stuff. And like we got more tips for just the fact that I was kind of just making a jerk out of myself.
Throwing it out there.
Yeah,
huh?
we were just throwing it out there, dude. No caution to the wind.
So I got one.
That was one of the funnest band stories that I have.
Where does your inspiration come from when you're writing about your music?
100%. That's a good question. 100%. I think that music is one of the only universal languages that we have. And I take that very seriously.
Right.
If I'm going to write a song and put it out there, and if one song, there was 1 or 2 songs to this day that I can think of that changed my life. And I think that if I have the power to do that for somebody else, that is what gives me inspiration to keep writing songs and to keep doing what I'm doing.
Amen to that.
Yeah, man.
Amen to that.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
question.
the reason we do everything we do out here with these artists out here, all of us, man. It took me a long time to consider myself an artist, but you know, with what I do and the time I spend and the passion I put into it, at the end of the day, you know, this is art. What we put out here and what we're doing, and if it doesn't have passion, then it doesn't have structure. It doesn't have traction. You know, if it doesn't have passion, it doesn't have traction. People don't want to listen. People don't want to watch.
That is a great quote. That is a great. You should put that on the freaking handle on this freaking podcast. If it doesn't have passion, it doesn't have traction, dude.
Damn right. If you're just doing it to do it, nobody gives a fuck, man.
Right.
When it comes to your performing, do you prefer the musical vibes of Nashville or the scenic stages of Colorado?
That's I feel like
Fucking, I don't know shit about
here's the thing,
Nashville, but
man.
I'll tell you what, not knowing shit about Nashville, I feel like seeing Colorado and not knowing nothing about the musical vibes of Nashville, I'm already like, damn, that must be pretty good to compare. You know what I'm saying?
I will say the comparison is apples and oranges.
Right.
100%.
Right.
Because out there in Nashville, dude, first of all, everybody is trying to be the next thing. Everybody.
Right.
There's no artist that you see on the street or in the bars on Broadway or in any of the outside Hendersonville, Goodlettsville, and even down on the south side, dude. Like everybody that's doing anything, songwriter rounds, they're all trying to make their way doing something. Here, I experienced this last weekend, dude. 80s rock bands in Colorado make bank.
Really?
Oh yeah. If you're in,
Oh, wait a minute. No, you're not wrong. There's this Led Zeppelin cover band that used to play at Notes, and this motherfucker does better than himself. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, cover bands, like professional cover
this motherfucker's
bands.
got a double neck guitar. Absolutely puts his heart and soul into every fucking strum he puts on that damn thing. And you just, like, I remember bartending one night and just watching, like, holy shit, dude. And not only was I watching him get down, I was watching 60 fucking elderly people get down to it, too. You know what I mean?
Dude, I'll tell you this, just a quick side note. You put a freaking professional 80s rock band or Led Zeppelin band, Elvis Presley tribute band, Beatles tribute band. If
like renowned, right?
If you plant them anywhere in Colorado, they are gonna sell out.
No shit.
And I'm talking about not sell
That's
out
a
the
heavy
soul.
statement.
I'm
dude.
talking about sell out the seats.
Wow.
Original music in Colorado is really, really tough.
That's
really
why it's
tough.
cool that we had that night at Union Station recently, the writers' night.
Yeah, that was super cool. And we walked in, dude, and there was like 6 or 7 people that were like, dude, Jacob Christopher. Holy crap, dude, you're here? And that was the best feeling in the world. And I didn't change a damn stride in what I was doing.
Right.
We were having a good time, and it was a good time. And I went up on stage, I played.
Was it a good time?
Dude, it was so
Was
fun.
it a good time?
It was fun. And I played brand new original songs nobody else in the audience has heard.
What was the first song you played?
Learn How to Fall. That's a song that's gonna be. Maybe I'll play that at the end of the session.
Fucking tits.
Thank you, man.
Fucking tits.
Dude, when you fall down, you got to learn how to recover.
That song's got a chorus. You hear it once and you're singing, dude.
Thank you, man.
You know, like, dude, you're jamming. And the thing is, I'd heard you play that at Notes, and I won't lie to you, I'm not fucking following your music like I should be. I'm an asshole for that, but you know what? Fucking A. I'm not gonna sit here and be like, "Hey, you guys should follow him,"
Dude,
and
we're
then be
still
like,
friends, man. It's fun.
"Hey," and then be like, "Yeah, I follow him too." Nah, dude, I'm sleeping on your fucking music, dude. And I realized that when I seen you at Union Station, I was like, "Fuck, dude, I'm an asshole."
Well,
That's what I thought. Like immediately, I was like, "Damn!" Like, not only is homie trying to support my shit over here, he's like, "Hey, like, let's fucking do this podcast. Let's do it." And I hear you play again. I was like, "Fuck."
Dude, it's all good, man. And it comes back to just saying, dude, music is healing, man. It doesn't have to take any shape or form or live.
Well,
It
credit
just
is
needs to
given
tread it.
or credit is due.
I appreciate it, man.
And you fucking deserve it, dude.
But back to what I was saying, 80s rock bands and just professional cover bands here in Colorado, from what I have personally seen, they do very, very well in Colorado, specifically. If you take that same tribute act to Nashville,
No.
they'll do all right. I mean,
Right.
dude,
Demographic
the bar,
is just different, right?
The
It's
bar
just
will
different.
still say, hey, there's a freaking Elvis Presley impersonator, and they're going to do an entire Elvis set here at this bar
in
tonight.
Nashville, I feel like you have a bar that's not a country bar that does a country night, sells out still because you know what? Hey, we ain't gonna come here for your shit, but you know what? You got a good band. Let's go.
Dude,
And what I mean by that is demographic.
Mm-hmm.
You know, your demographic. That question is hard to answer because you're serving two different demographics. You're playing in two different demographics. You're also appeasing to those differently.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've got to serve the crowd that is there, and you gotta play accordingly and do what they want to hear.
Right.
You know, because you know what, as good as your shit is, you know. You can't just go out and bust it out first thing as an opener at a certain venue.
So
There's
at the
certain
end,
things you got.
at the end of the day, here's my answer: the scenery and my roots are here in Colorado. My heart and my soul and everything that I want to do and everything that I want to be a part of, as far as an original artist, is in Nashville. I love the scenery here. I love just being outdoors. I love meeting people here outdoors. There's so many people here that are transplants, just like Nashville. But out here in Colorado, man, everybody wants to be outside. Everybody wants to go to dog bars. Everybody wants to go to the slopes. Everybody wants to tour something that is the outdoors. And I'm an outdoors guy. But in Nashville, that's where all of my original heart is. I love listening to brand new original songs that people are singing at songwriter rounds. I love to see the energy of Broadway on a freaking Monday night, dude.
Right.
On a Monday night, every bar in there is damn near packed until like 11 or 12. Even in the winter, it's still rolling. It's the country Vegas, dude.
Yep.
So that's my answer.
Okay.
My heart is here, but my soul is in Nashville.
Soul's very important when you're playing music, but
Yeah.
so is heart.
Yeah, dude, it's a tough split.
They're weighed almost in my eyes. Like so, when we
They're
earlier
weighed equally. It's
Yeah,
hard to
yeah,
answer
yeah,
that question. It's apples to oranges. I love both.
So earlier when you talked about being not being the come up that you had, to me, a lot of your success.
Thank you, Derek, for your question.
Thank you, Derek. A lot of your success in my third party looking in eye was derived around this support from your mom,
Yeah.
you know, and also being the only musician in your family. And the reason I say that is so I grew up Los Angeles, California.
Mm-hmm.
You know, two of my neighbors were some of the best percussionists I've ever seen in my entire life.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, right? And my dad, one of the most phenomenal blues guitarists you'll ever hear.
Blues is a whole different
Oh,
story.
dude, he could just lead it up too, bro. Like, it's so
Exactly like
and you
that.
watch him do it, and you're just fucking flabbergasted, right? And I grew up watching my dad, and also wanting to do that. So there was a major sense of inadequacy when my dad would play guitar, and I would try to learn because he was a great guitarist, terrible teacher. You know, and I love my pop, one of my best friends. You know, but it wasn't until I was 24 years old and I'd sat down and spent some time on the guitar. I really tried to learn and taking it seriously and improve myself, you know, and to a point where I had to teach myself and not be taught by him what I learned because I needed A plus B equals C, and he was at, yo, we're doing straight algorithms, dog. You know, and I'm like, Dad, slow the fuck down. And I finally, like, at 23 years old, and I told him one day, I was like, dude, Pop, that's great and all, but fuck off.
You learn how to run before you can walk.
And I told him that. I was like, dude, you're here. I'm asking you for a year. And I wish I could have told you that when I was 6. I'd be a fucking killer
you
guitarist.
both, man.
I'd be a killer guitarist by now if I was. But not, that's why I picked up percussion, is because like I could never do what my dad did, but at least I could keep a rhythm.
Well, and I was just talking to my buddy Taggart today about the importance of musical theory and knowing what different chords to go to when you're writing songs.
This one we didn't read.
Oh, I'm sorry, Derek.
We said thank you. We said thank you, but we didn't read your question, Derek.
What song is your favorite? Like, okay, so cover song or original song? I'll answer both.
Okay.
Cover song by another artist. I would have to say one of my favorite songs. My go-to is "Crazy One More Time" by Kip Moore, because I heard the Up All Night album when I was 17, 18 years old. And it was the first concert that my oldest brother took me to. And it was the first big concert that I took my youngest brother to. It's like a rolling thing in our family, hopefully. But what I loved about that song was that it just described so much, and there were so many different colors of that song when he played it on the record. But then when I heard him play it live in Nashville, the music video that they put out just blew me away, because it was a much more rock version of the song.
Right.
And I was like, man, I connected to the song when it was like a low simmer song. And then when they rocked it up, I was like, holy shit. Okay. Damn, wow. How did they take the same story and make it almost two different meanings? And that cover song blew me away. But my very, very close second has to be Fast Car, Tracy Chapman, dude. And I think Luke Combs did a fantastic job. I love how he didn't change a whole bunch of stuff. The melody's still the same. The parts, everything in that song is still the same when he redid it.
Yeah.
My favorite original song, I love, I haven't put it out yet, but it's a song called The Toll. And it's a song about how the world is going right now, and how I grew up, and how a lot of my friends and family grew up. You know, it's not the same, but it doesn't mean we don't have to respect each other.
Right.
And I hate that we've not to get political here, but I feel like we have been in such a war in this country, and I don't know if it's just because of social media or because of this is how it is in the real world. I've experienced a lot of it in my personal life, but there's nothing wrong with what you want to do or who you want to be, or, you know, if you want to do what you want to do, man. And I hate the fact that this is America, this home of the brave, land of the free, and people fight in this country for you to get to do whatever the hell you want.
They fight for that exact thing, but you don't get that right now.
Exactly. And why is this popular opinion more important than just the way that I'm living my life? Why can't we have some common ground? And that's what I wrote that song, The Toll, about, and it took me months to write. I kept coming back to it. The chorus stayed the same for the entire thing. I wrote the chorus first, and I'm not going to play it tonight, but I'll give you guys the chorus here of the lyrics. Let me see if I can find it. Here it is. It kills me inside that people get the notion that a fight should be fair, even if it's your life. I'll show you my cards if you show me some devotion, but everyone at the table's betting on another hand to get me to fold or call my bluff, or we can go all in, but you'll pay the toll. And that, I feel like, just it sums up how I feel about today's world. It's like, dude, I have no problem with how you live in your life, and I will respect it. Absolutely. Do I agree with it? Who knows?
Right.
But I will respect it.
Right.
But why can't I get the
Why
same
can't
respect
exactly?
back.
Why can't you give me the same?
Right, and that's what that song's about. And I'm really excited to release that at some point.
I'm excited to hear the release of that. And Jake, I'll tell you this much. You know, we've got probably one of the most memorable 2 hours of my life. Honestly, no, I'm not even.
We're having a good time, man.
Not
it's
even
good to see
not
you.
even joking with you. Like it's been, to me, what I visited with you earlier before we started getting nitty gritty was, I could know you for 10 years, but I could never sit down and have a conversation with you like this if I did, unless it was in this platform. Okay.
Yeah.
And what I really care about here is that interaction that I get out of this. Okay. Yes, it's do as the locals do. Yes, it brings me opportunities to meet people. It brings you, the listener, opportunity to be involved in this conversation that you might not have ever gotten the opportunity to do before. And that being said, there's not a lot that I can do with this other than offer you one thing, and that's a chance to speak, a chance to say something that is going to be broadcasted, is going to be on Spotify, on YouTube, on anything that you don't normally go on because you're a musician, you know? And if there was something for your listeners, your viewers, your fans, your family and friends
Yeah.
could hear, what would you tell them?
I would say that music is healing, and every day is a new day. So
Music is healing.
Whatever mistakes that you made yesterday, it shouldn't define who you are the next day. Because I feel like every experience that you have is a learning pain. It's a growing experience. And I've made so many mistakes in my life. And my love life, my professional life, I've made so many mistakes. But every single one of them, I've looked back on and been like, oh, yeah, maybe I shouldn't do that again. Or,
Right.
hey, how can I learn from that and maybe do something different next time?
Right.
And I think that people get so wrapped up into what is, this is a perfect metaphor. You know that show Friends?
Yep.
How many times on that show, and these are 6 friends that have been together for 10 years. It was a 10-year run for that show. And they've been best friends all 10 years of that through the show. But how many experiences did those individual 6 people have where it was like, dude, any modern day person would get into a fight with that friend and be like, dude, I'm never going to be your friend again. Fuck you.
Right.
And I think that's part of what made the show great, because it was comic relief. But in real life, that doesn't fly.
Right.
And as an adult, that's what I hate about the show, but that's what I also love about the show. Because it's like, man, your real friends will stand by you through the thick and thin. Some of the stuff, there's some stuff that can be forgiven, and there's some stuff that can't. And if it can't, then move on and find different friends. But what I loved about that show is that it shows how people, through comedy and through love for one another, they can overcome it.
Right.
And I think that is what I hate about today's world, is that people are so quick to dismiss any wrongdoing that you do. You're not going to give them a chance to correct it or give them some kind of rebuttal. It's just now, dude, it's so easy to just block somebody or to just ghost them, right? And so, yeah, that's what I would say to the listeners that are listening right now, is that every day's a new day, man. And the mistakes that you made yesterday are yesterday. You can't get that back. But, what you keep moving forward with and what you have now, that's the present. That's why they call it a gift. It's the present.
Today is a gift.
Today's a gift.
Tomorrow is the future.
That's right.
But today is the present.
That's right.
That's why they
Today's
call it a gift.
the present. Yeah, there it is. Sorry, I was wrapping it around. I was like, how do I wrap this up? But yeah, man, and I feel like a lot of people have dismissed me in the past for stuff that I did in the past, and we all learn from our mistakes, and that stuff's just really, really tough to deal with.
Right.
And with how you and I grew up, dude, you and I could sit across the table and have a hard conversation and be like, dude, I hear you.
Yeah.
I get it. And, moving forward, starting tomorrow, how can I make that better?
Right.
That's what real friends do, and that's what families do.
Right.
And I feel like in today's society, in America specifically, it's really, really hard for people to just like kind of, get past that barricade of
Forgive.
Yeah, just
Have grace.
Forgive, forget, and let's move forward.
Grace is something that is often associated with religion, but it doesn't have to be. It's an idea of shit. Maybe I've done that. Shit,
Dude.
maybe I've been there. Shit, maybe I could be better. It's having grace in a situation where, yes, you could be hard on this person. You could do this. But at the end of the day, put yourself in their shoes.
Right.
Put yourself in somebody else's shoes because,
And nobody grew up the same.
yeah.
Like it's, we all have different ways of looking at the world. And that's why I think The Toll is a really big song for me personally.
Right.
It might not be the most popular song when I release it, but I do believe that that's a song that I think people can learn from. And
It's not about the hundreds, it's about the 10. And what I mean by that is you can get 100 views, you can get 1,000, you can get 1,000,000. Okay?
Mhm.
No matter how many views you get, the number doesn't matter. The impact does.
right.
And those 1,000,000 views that you got, those 1,000 views that you got, those 100 views that you got, it's the 10 at the end of the day that were impacted by what you do. Their life was changed. Something impacted them so hard that if you don't continue what you're doing, that could be the impact that really makes a change.
One of my favorite quotes ever is the minute you start giving your heart what it needs to pump is the minute you start sleepwalking to your own grave.
Right on.
And if you don't do what makes other people happy, do what makes you happy, because we only have one ride, dude. So, and I'm not sure who quoted that. I heard it, and I'm not sure who the author was. I heard it from Kip, but I'm not sure who the actual author was or if he was. I just want to say, man, it's just, dude, have respect and have a little compassion for people, but that doesn't mean you have to change your whole world to march to the beat of somebody else's drum.
Amen.
And
Well, the thing is, Jake, there's a lot we could do. We could go this route. We can go that route. We could talk about music. We could talk about life. We could do this for days. For days. And at the end of the day, there's only so much memory on my cameras.
all right, one more question.
And right now we have visited on multiple phenomenal questions from fans, loves, friends, the whole nine. There was one question that I did ask you that I didn't give credit to the person, and that was your producer. And that
Jared
was
Headley.
Jared Headley. Where does your
North Park
inspiration
Studios.
come from when you're writing your music? Some of the really good questions he didn't get credit for, so I just wanted to throw that out there and give credit to the man that makes it happen. Your
Well, we'll
producer.
do another podcast.
And that's where I'm getting at here is Young Blood Podcast. We're not the court system. We believe in repeat offenders here.
Yeah. Which I've
And-
been a part of.
Yeah, and you know what? Everybody might have or might not have, but we believe in it strongly here.
Yeah.
And that being said, there's two things we're going to do.
Yeah.
We're going to wrap up this show on, for one, a great note and say this has been by far my favorite episode to date, episode 52 of Young Blood Podcast. And if you haven't found me on your platform of choice, I am on there. I guarantee it. If you look on YouTube, it's Young Blood Podcast Colorado. It is key that you put the Colorado in there. There's a couple other people with the Young Blood Podcast. Great shows. Check them out, but check out mine first. Anyways, Jake and I, really, really wanted to make sure that we give a sense of interaction with this show and give you, the listener, love and let you know that you're appreciated, and everything that you do goes so far. Your likes, your comments, your interaction, your questions, all of this stuff really makes what we do worthwhile.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we really, really do. And
There's a lot of this podcast. We were just going back and forth, hanging out. And dudes. So
that's what we like to do at Youngblood Podcast, is not only really enforce the premise of do as the locals do, but we try to bring you genuine conversations from genuine people and make you feel at home with yourself. Because you know what? When I listen to a podcast, that's what I'm looking for. And hopefully that's what I can bring you.